Awa. You can hear me?
I can hear you well
Am I loud?
and clear.
Oh, there you go.
The world's gone into flames since the last time we spoke, Nabil.
I don't know what happened. Seriously, I think they heard that you're going to Bali and they were like, do it now.
Do it now. This is
Yeah.
the moment.
That way he can't do anything live, can't talk about anything on.
Yeah. We can't
Yeah.
drop some truth bombs on the world since I'd been gone, huh?
It's been a nightmare.
Bali was amazing.
Nice.
Fucking solo trip, going around, but it was good. We're happy to be back.
Yeah.
I say with a tear in my eye. Fucking-
Yeah. Look, I'll be honest with you. Sorry, Bali, man, but you gotta clean up your act. I mean, he loved it, but when I was there, I did not like it. So I don't know what it is. I think there's gin down there, man.
like demon.
Look at all their statues, man.
Yeah, they actually are pretty crazy, huh?
Like, I don't see any angel wings.
Everything has 6 arms and it's angry.
It seems like it's from another world, but definitely not the angelic world. They're like massive statues. They're
Yeah.
really good at statues. Yeah, but yeah, no. So you liked it, huh?
It was good, man. It was good. I did 3 weeks, just travel a lot. Sometimes you feel like you need a holiday from the holiday.
Yeah.
Because do you travel around a lot when we're traveling?
I always I'm a resorts guy.
Okay.
So I'll pick the best resort with the most activities that you can do from the resort.
Mm.
So I don't like mixing with the locals. The whole idea of going to Bali is to feel like I'm in Queensland, but more expensive, or anywhere that I go, like Fiji or anything. I'll just find the most expensive place, stay there, and that's it. That's my experience.
Fuck.
Yep.
I respect that.
Yeah, I just can't do it, man. Like, I mean, all of the waiters and people at the resort are from the country.
Mm.
So what am I going to see if that's the best they got?
Yeah.
Right?
I was doing well. So I'm a bit stupid, and I thought at the start I didn't realize how bad the tap water was.
Yep.
So I thought it was genius that, like, as I'm brushing my teeth, I'll take a
Get
sip
correct.
of the tap water.
You get a little bit of crunchy.
You get a
feel.
little crunch. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought I was like strengthening my immune system.
Yep.
And I went to ChatGPT. I'm like, hey, chat. I'm like, this is genius. Yeah, I'm strengthening my immune
Do
system.
not drink the water.
Yeah.
You will die.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not calling you a fucking idiot,
Yeah.
but that is probably not the best idea.
Seriously, though, no one drinks the water from Thailand, Bali.
Mm.
Yeah, we used to buy all bottled water.
I didn't realize even the locals don't do it. I thought I was getting the cuisine. I wanted a crunch in my water. I
Yeah.
thought I was like living as the Balinese do.
I don't think they have a separation between their. You know how we have we have storm water and then we have fresh, fluorinated,
We have water supply and
Third-
then sewerage.
third eye blocking, calcifying fluoride and chlorine.
Yeah.
I don't think they have that.
You know what was weird I noticed as well? I don't know if it was because I wasn't on my phone as much, but you know how when you close your eyes, there's like a iridescent light. It's kind of like a light, but not a light. You kind of see colors.
Do you ever get like a little white dot that you can follow
But-
with your eyes closed? It just keeps going.
Yeah, but that shit pisses me off because when you look at it, it moves.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm like playing this mind game with this thing. I'm like, I'm not looking at you. I'm not looking at
And then
you.
you try to recreate it when it disappears. You're like, hold on, let me see if I can create it myself.
That shit's weird, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's just eyeballs looking at the back of the lid. Yeah.
You know, there's a blind spot in your eye as
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
That shit blew my mind. I think it's where all the nerves actually like meet at the eye,
Yep.
but your brain like fills in the blank. For
Yep.
me, it's there. Right now, if you're with the camera, I can't see the top of my thumb right now. It's literally not existent. It's because that's where the nerves are actually meeting
Are
right
you
there.
serious?
Yeah, I'm
I
serious.
didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy like that.
I just thought the only blind spot I had was once at the gym when someone had a straight bar on the lat pull down.
Yeah.
It was just pointing straight, but all I could see was a round circle, and I didn't know what the distance was. I kept walking, it hit me straight in the head.
Actually,
Yeah. And
Fucking hell.
then it went sideways, and I realized what that circle that I was endlessly going towards was.
yeah, shit. Now there's all little random things like apparently as well, the peripheral of your vision
Yep.
is actually black and white,
Yeah.
but your brain fills in the color just because it costs too much energy to do color everywhere. So
But how does it know what to fill in?
like it's not actually absorbing the color, but
I
your
could
brain
see
processes
clearly
colour.
that that's black and that's orange, and it could not know that.
No, it just. I think. Well, then it must just be like the thin periphery line. Yeah,
I reckon there's got to be some sort of color coming through. There has to be
yeah.
for your brain to work with something. I mean, like you can't give me a picture of a tree that I've never seen before,
Mm.
and my brain just makes up that it's green.
Maybe
Especially if it's in my periphery. You're like, what color is that tree? And it's like, well, it's a slight hue of. It's like, how do you know that?
True.
I think there has to be something like it must be reflecting and coming through somehow, and your brain probably picks up a very low amount of it, and then fill in the gap on that. But it can't do something out of nothing. Like,
No, it wouldn't be out of nothing. But I think a lot of the brain is like just filling in the gaps
Yeah.
and creating like the perception of what it's all like making.
it does
the
make
image.
up a lot of shit.
Yeah, it makes up a
Your brain's
lot
a
of
big shit imager. He's not a shit talker. He's a shit imager. And I want to know where does the voice come from inside your head when you're talking to yourself?
Straight out, man.
Yeah.
And then do like deaf people. I think there's something called apophagia or something. Again, fact check. But apparently there's like a group of people that, if I say think of green apple or blue elephant, your brain does it.
Yeah.
People just simply don't have that imaging. Like it just doesn't
Wow.
exist for them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
mean, but yeah, no, I'm the type that that's always wondered who's talking
Yeah.
inside my head. There's no ears in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another thing is like I'll also change voices.
Do you got like
So
an accent and shit?
if I'm practicing arguing with someone later on in the day, like when I meet him, I'm going to say this. And I
Yeah.
start having a conversation. I can actually get their voice in there,
Mm.
and then talk to them with my voice, and then beat them at their own argument. So when I rock up, I already got
Preemptive recorded.
Yeah, it's a preemptive strike. It's kind of like Israel. I just start hitting people, and when they hit me back, I'll be like, "Why'd they hit me?
Why'd you hit
What's
me?
your problem?"
What's your problem? But that was all part of the preemptive conversation in your head as well.
Absolutely. Because I've even got the victim cards. I've got everything. I've got multiple victim cards because they can come at you from different directions.
Yeah.
Especially when you're late to work and you're trying to make up lies.
Never talk too much when you're making up a lie. You gotta
No, not when you're saying it, but when you're thinking it, you should really cross all the
every-
T's and
yeah.
dot the I's. I always do. I'm like, hold on, how can I break that argument down? No, that's not going to work. My dog ate my keys.
Oh shit.
You can't just use anything.
No, I love that as well because traveling, you meet a lot of people, and there's so many people who know so many different languages. This is something I've always asked someone who knows more than one language, and I've always found it interesting. They go, "Oh, I speak English and fucking Spanish or whatever it is."
Yeah.
My question is always, what language do you think in? Because like me, we're Arab, but if someone asks me, "Are you Arab or Australian?" I feel like I'm more Australian because I'm born here.
Yep.
And the language I think in is English.
Yep.
So to me, even though you're not your thoughts, the English one is the one that like I identify with the
Yep.
most. So I always find that interesting. What language does someone think in, and is that who they identify with as well?
I think it also depends on what's the most recent amount of data that you're actually bringing in.
Mm,
So, for example, like when you're reading in Arabic,
yeah.
like say Quran or something, or you're listening to Quran, for some reason, if you do it for about a week or two, the next month or so, you start talking to yourself in Quran.
Yeah.
And then you realize you're actually just butchering it, but you're still trying to do it. Like your brain's actually talking to you in like, no, don't do that.
Mm.
Or you will go to the hellfire. But you won't say it in English. You say the actual, you start trying to use the Arabic words. And it's like, I don't know, maybe it's a practice thing. But
Yeah.
I think the language you learn the most as you're younger actually not only has that internal voice that comes in that language, which you identify with, but actually has a lot to do with your behavior as well.
Yeah, because it's almost like languages have a they got like a behavior with it.
Yeah,
Almost.
and that's why Arabs and Lebos,
Like the culture that
Yeah.
created the language has behaviors in the culture, which is manifest in the language.
it's in the language,
Yeah,
because they've got a lot of heavy letters. And so therefore when they get angry,
Oh man,
they've got
I
a
love
very
getting
heavy
angry in
hand.
Arabic.
they've
bro.
got a very heavy hand.
Yeah, because
Because-
I met this like Moroccan guy and we were just talking, and then my friends were there, and yeah, I was just talking, but I was getting a bit heated.
Yeah.
But like, it felt good to speak heated in Arabic.
Yep.
And then yeah, my friend, she was there. She was like, "Why does your Arabic sound so much more like aggressive.
Devastating.
Devastated. I was like, no, I was actually angry. So,
Yeah.
but it felt good to get the oomph of
It
the.
does. It does help. It does help bring it out. And I realized that's why when I got bashed, disciplined
Discipline.
in brackets. I thought about it growing up. Obviously, I mean, I've been alive for a very, very long time now. And one thing I noticed is with the language and the aggression, it's just like listening to music.
The getting bashed part.
No. I mean,
You heard sounds and saw colors.
no, that didn't sound like music. That sounded like someone dropped a cupboard full of crockery. But it's like if you're listening to like mellow music, the next hour or two, whoever you're talking to, you kind of chill.
Yeah.
And then if you're listening to something like that's like heavy rap music, where they're talking about the exact crime that they just committed
and
against who in the exact spot where
Yeah.
they left the evidence, snitching on themselves, that kind of music, you actually get more aggressive.
Yeah.
And so then therefore the Arabic language being, let's just say my parents' default language, also meant that when they were yelling at you, they were also G'ing themselves up to get more and more aggressive.
Yeah.
'Cause they were using the words.
That's like mum when I walk past and I see her show. I just stop and I'm like, oh. I'm like, now it's adding up.
Yep,
You know? I'm like, I get it now.
Yeah, because when they're yelling, and so that's G'ing them up while they're doing the
They're their
act of
own hype
discipline.
man, yeah.
They're hyping themselves up.
I was literally talking to my mate last night about this because we were talking about music, and he's like, I stopped listening to music because he'll listen to a sad song. And then when the song ends, he's like, what do I do with this feeling now?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
Just got to put
it's
it
like now
back
I'm
down
just
with
sad
everything else.
again. Yeah, do I need to put another sad song? Where am I now? You know?
Yep. Yeah, no, it does do that. That's why I'm saying I think Arabs are more aggressive because of the language that they're using.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just on the note of like what language you think in, one of the guys was saying he naturally speaks Spanish in his head,
Yep.
but when he's at work, I think he does videography, he thinks in English because of the terminology is more relevant in English.
Yep.
So the whole thought process at work is in English.
Does he have an accent?
Yeah, they got an accent.
So does he think in accent?
No,
Can you
he
ask
thinks
him?
in. Oh,
Because when he's doing that,
brother,
at
if
work-
you're listening, I got him on the. Yeah, he's following the pod now. Do you think in accent?
Yeah, because I mean, if I had an accent in English, how come I'm thinking in normal? Why don't I just talk in normal?
And that's like, what is it? Oh, it's fucking hilarious. Actually, even though you're thinking, you can't scream forever in your head.
Fuck, I'm doing it, bro. I did it for like 5 seconds. I was like, and why is my face changing when if I'm just
screaming?
thinking? Why do you have to do this as you're thinking it? Yeah, no, I didn't know
love
that.
it, man.
I mean, yeah, obviously, if you sit there and try to notice it for a little bit, it does perform for you as well. Like, yeah, but yeah, that's it. So Bali's.
Bali's is good. Bali's is good,
Yeah.
man. No, I had a lot of pretty cool experiences in Bali.
Name two.
2 cool experiences.
Besides brushing your teeth with crunchy water.
It's definitely one of them. Cool experiences. I did. I had a shake, a very interesting shake. Drink. Shake,
Oh,
shake,
sorry. I
yeah.
thought you were talking about a
Shake.
religious
Yeah, no,
Islamic
I think
cleric.
it was a microphone. I don't know how it's going to
Okay.
come out. It sounded like that.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about a religious Islamic cleric.
Cleric. And that was pretty good in terms of like sensory changes and
So you had a hallucinogen.
yes, a hallucinogen.
Yeah.
Bit anticlimactic to be honest, because I hyped myself up the whole time.
Yep.
I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking smell fucking colors and it's
Yeah,
gonna be this.
yep.
And I was freaking out because I was by myself. I'm like, what if I just fucking
Yep.
paz out? But I think I did all like the heavy lifting because
Yep.
I went to the beach and I was like meditating and I was like in the water. I was just like zoning out. It was pretty magical night actually.
I reckon you stuffed it up,
Oh,
bro. You got to go raw.
what do you mean?
You got to go raw on
Start
that.
crunching on these.
No,
fucking-
well, yeah, you grab the shroom or whatever it is
Yeah.
you're drinking. All right,
yeah.
and what you do is you got to take it then and there. No prep, and I'll tell you why. Because that's who the fuck you really are.
Yeah, I don't want to know. I don't want to, that's exactly what I was trying to avoid.
No,
bro.
you don't want to avoid it because you can fake it. You can fake it as much as you want.
Well, that's why, like,
I want to know. I want someone to sit there just writing down How I was behaving, what I was saying. All right. And then they tell me this is who you are.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing as well. Is I'm so used to like I get pretty OCD in terms of just being in control of my own mind,
Yep.
or just in control of my behaviors. I don't have a control issue, but I think you want to be in control of
Yeah,
your
yeah.
shit.
You want to be well behaved
wanna be
by your
well-
own standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like these things by default remove you from the thing, and then you have to face who you're like what your mind actually is without
What's
you
happening
being in
in
the
the
driver's seat.
background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was why I was anxious as. But it
That's
wasn't
why
even
I reckon you can't set it up. Like I can't be sitting there listening to hillbilly music or Taylor Swift shit, and or whatever it is, or meditating or trying to get myself in a state because I'm already in that state
yeah.
when I was faking it before I took the help.
The help,
Right.
the meditation
So if
induced
you're already
help.
there, why are you taking it to be more there? No,
Okay.
you want to just be like you just got into an argument, see what happens. That's who you are.
Drop a bomb on yourself.
If there was no filters, no one around, this is who you'd be.
Yeah. Well, I think traveling alone, especially like, when you're traveling alone, that naturally kind of happens because it's like, all right, who am I when there's nothing to do, nothing on my agenda? What am I? Who am I? What am I going to do? What am I going to figure out? And you have to kind of befriend yourself as well. You got to make games with yourself as well. You got to just almost fill in like the gaps of realizing there's nothing,
Well, we know what's worse. I mean, I did the same thing when I lived away from home. For a few years, I had work out in the country, so I was alone a lot.
All right.
And when I got back, when I'd come back once a week, check up on my family, whatever, I realized that it was business as usual, man, with or without me.
Mm.
Like I was gone like for a
Yeah.
week, 2 weeks, something.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
come
yeah.
back and
Yeah.
they're like, this has moved on.
Mhm.
Kids have gotten taller.
Yeah.
The fridge still looks the same. Still got that thing hanging off. You've got to buy a new magnetic strip for it. Well, life goes on, man.
No,
I've
but-
been gone for 2. I thought they were all relying on me. No one gave a shit. I was even gone.
Yeah, the world fucking plays
I'm
on.
serious.
But isn't that was honestly like that's that liberating meme. It's like a meme and it's like nobody cares and the guy's crying. And then it's the exact same photo, but it's like nobody cares and he's like celebrating.
Yeah.
And it's like that image of, you're kind of everyone's just living their own life, worried about their own shit to give a fuck
You
about
know
it.
what's even deeper than that is if you think nobody cares, eventually you're going to come to the idea is, did I ever give a fuck? Did I ever care?
Yeah.
Because if you're away and it's like nobody cares, who's talking? It's you.
Yeah.
But the real question is do you care? And if you would get to that realization, because that's what happened to me. I was realized like, hold on, I don't even care. Like,
Yeah.
if it, all this time I've been thinking about who cares,
Yeah.
and it's like, do I actually care? That's the kind of like a moment that pops up if you do it long enough. You know what I mean? Yeah.
This is I butcher the first name. I think it's Albert Camus. He's like a philosopher.
Yep.
But he kind of coined absurdism, which
Yep.
is the idea that humans in this absurd way have to create meaning in a universe that's clearly like cold and indifferent to whether we exist or
Yep.
not.
Yep.
But there's this tension of humanity where we're like searching for meaning and purpose in like a world where there's clearly no reason to think there's meaning or purpose.
Yep.
But like that's our constant human battle.
Well, I mean, it starts off that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
And then,
If-
sorry, just to kind of
Yep.
conclude or wrap his kind of thought. Have you heard of Sisyphus? It's like a Greek mythology or story.
I have heard something like that. Yeah.
Something about he tricked the Greek gods, and as punishment, they forced him to roll a boulder up a hill,
Yep.
and then it rolls back down, and then it roll up a hill
Yep.
for eternity.
Yep.
It rolls it back down, and then Albert Camus, he kind of put this idea forward that absurdism is basically for you to imagine Sisyphus happy.
Yep.
So as he's doing it, even though it's like a meaningless endeavor,
Yep.
humanity is basically creating meaning. And now, because he has a purpose and a meaning to push the boulder up the hill for eternity,
Yep.
humanity is us imagining Sisyphus happy because he has a purpose in this infinite meaninglessness kind of regressive loop.
That's deep, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's. I mean, think of it that way. I suppose that's what we're doing with thinking that we're important.
Yeah.
We're constantly, like you're saying, we're trying to find that meaning. We're trying to find that connection, or like something cares, or something. We have a purpose.
I matter.
Yeah.
I influence the world as much as it influences me.
and it has no bearing on the world itself anyway. But you keep doing that, keep rolling it up, realizing no one cares. Come back down.
Yeah.
but then you're like you're saying, it's like you try to find the meaning in that, and it keeps you content. But I suppose it starts when you're young. You were cared about,
True. Yeah, yeah,
like in
yeah.
your fundamental years, like your
Yeah.
foundational years. You were being showed affection, love, everything that the world isn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe the universe isn't like that.
Mm,
Maybe as if you zoom out of it, it would be like that.
yeah.
But on the ground, no. I think, um,
But that's the absurdity is
yeah,
like the human experience is actually meaningful
yep,
when there's no reason for it to be, but like it is meaningful.
yeah, that's
and
right.
we
Yeah, well, there
do
you go.
have
Yep,
purpose.
yep,
It's not that we're just making it up. That's the human experience in a universe that's meaningless.
yep,
And that's kind of the tension, I guess.
yep. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I suppose I don't agree that it's meaningless. That's the only issue. Like, I suppose
Oh.
from a philosopher's point of view, the argument can be made. If you are disregarding faith, for example,
Yeah. Yeah.
because as a cold universe, it
Mm.
doesn't have any drama in it,
Yeah.
right? There's no melodrama in the heavens. But as you can see, we're kind of different because we're
Mm.
observing this universe from a human perspective.
Yep.
So then, therefore, if you have faith, you can't use that analogy.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
wouldn't be able to use it because most faiths are telling you that someone has a vested interest in you that's outside of you.
Yeah, like this omnibenevolence.
Yep,
overseeing.
angels,
Yeah, yeah.
guardian spirit,
God.
or something,
Yeah.
or So I don't know if most of that's probably made up, but
Well, that's the beauty of philosophy and why I find it so interesting is you get to kind of put a new framework and perspective on your mind,
Yep.
and then you observe it, and then you don't need to fully embody that, and that's just what that philosopher
it's
believes.
a different way of thinking.
Yeah,
You know,
but I think the interest in philosophy allows you to detach from your thoughts a bit and just observe, see what that effect has on your behavior,
Yep.
and then you can kind of change your thoughts and put another framework in.
Yeah.
So many different types of philosophies.
Obviously, if you're consciously trying to improve yourself,
Yeah.
that's part of your awareness and that's part of your personality. But for most people,
Mm.
that's crushing.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
That, you
yeah.
know, like that story would be like, well, so what's the point?
Yeah, but then that's so people conflate absurdism with nihilism,
Yep.
which nihilism is simply that life and the universe is meaningless.
But most
Yeah.
people would do that.
Yeah,
I
which
mean,
nihilism
said,
is. Yeah,
If you break it down to someone who's trying to figure something out
Yeah.
about their life and about themselves, and most people who are just like, this just makes me feel depressed,
yeah, 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 yeah.
right? Because I'm not looking for that.
But that's why, like, do you listen to Richard Dawkins much?
No, I stopped listening to him. That's that scientist guy.
Yeah, yeah.
who
Well, I
keeps
don't-
bashing religions.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that.
So I don't listen to him in particular.
He's an
but-
atheist, I think, isn't he?
Oh, he's
Yeah.
one of the four like pronounced new
Yeah.
atheists. I
Yeah.
forget who they are. Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins. I think one of them is dead.
Probably that
something-
guy with the
Hitchens.
wheelchair.
Christopher
Oh, no.
Hitchens.
Yeah, I know Hitchens, yeah.
And then there was another one. I'm not sure who he is, but like Richard Dawkins, when people go, "What about the meaninglessness and nihilism you're creating? Like
Yep.
you're disenfranchising everyone from, having any sense of purpose in their life." He goes, "Well, I just don't care.
Yeah.
That's not my problem."
Yep.
And he just leaves it like that. And it's like, what kind of fucking philosophy for life are you trying to,
You know, I can
give
easily,
to people?
I can easily fix Dawkins.
Because he's broken.
He is broken.
All right.
Now, this is the thing. He's going around like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right. You
Well,
don't
I
give a
don't care.
No worries, man. Stick him on a boat without paddles, all right, and just push it out into the sea. And guess what will happen? By the time he comes back, he'll be praying to all the gods. Especially when it gets dark and you can see a fin. All right. By the time the next day, if you come pull him back in, he would definitely believe in something.
He's in a robe.
Yeah. He just hasn't been, in that situation yet. You just need to put him in front of a train and just pull him away last second. But as it's approaching, he's not meant to know that.
Scan his
though.
brain. Yeah, scan his brain as
No.
it's
When he
approaching.
comes back, he's like, oh God, that was scary. What did you say? Dawkins. Well, there's many ways to start believing in shit. Be careful. Well, you just don't care. Well, maybe I do. I'll make you care. Dorks. He's a dork.
He's a dork. He's a fucking dork.
Big dork. Yeah, so but I mean that's philosophy. Scientists, atheists, you get a lot of ideas. I think the main thing that I got to just recently that I mean, it just came into my head and I felt like it would have sounded good, but probably someone said it 5,000 years ago, 3 years ago on Pinterest or something. I don't know. I don't know what people use these days. Um, but I realized that maybe the human uh, goal in life is to somehow find how their subjective experience and the objective reality um, is to bridge that divide between the two, because
Yeah.
somehow we are subjective. Every human being subjective,
Mm.
and the world, as it seems, if you look at it from a bit of a distance, feels objective.
Yeah.
Doesn't care. Maths doesn't care. You could be the greatest saint in the world. Throw him off the Eiffel Tower. The guy's going to end up mincemeat at the bottom.
Splat. Yeah.
So, so there are objective realities, and then there's the subjective experience. And I think most religions or most spiritual pathways or practices are trying to bridge the gap between these two things, so that
Mm.
to develop the human to be able to be spiritual at the same time, their subjective reality is their objective reality.
Mm. Meaning like alignment.
It aligns with it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think. I mean, like I said, I was just doing a kind of like a word, like just I was just sitting there, just contemplating, and that's what I came up with. I
Yeah.
think that's what religions. I mean, when you read, like, for example, the Bible or the Quran or something, it's like they're trying to tell you of a reality
Mm.
that is different than your experience.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things there that aren't there. Like, for example, there are angels. There's 50,000 angels walking around every time someone does a good deed. It's like we don't see 50,000 angels.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
But
do.
that'll be like its objective
Yeah.
is to maybe change your subjective view so
Yeah.
that you align with it. Or there's other practices where it's like if you do good, good comes back, and then you think, well, how does that even work? I mean, where's the bank? Where can I check this? Was there an app
Yeah.
where I can see how much Allah article offies there are in there or whatever there is?
Yeah. وما حسنات
You
chart.
you can't bank them. Everything
Yeah.
else has a record keeping.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you do see that even if you just did it from an objective standpoint, you could um, maybe help people that are impoverished.
Mm.
Maybe one day they become rich,
Yep.
or they become wealthy or well off enough to help others.
Mm.
So there is an objective, subjective trying to bridging between what you think you're going to get in the end and what's actually happening on the ground. So I'm just using some examples. It's not
That's
something I've
cool.
actually delved into too much yet, but
Yeah.
it was just like, just recently, it just came up to me like, it came into my mind like, perhaps that's what everyone's trying to understand. Is
Yeah.
my subjective experience, or do I have to develop my subjective, point of view to match some objective
Mm.
reality?
Yeah.
And I think that's where you struggle in life, because like half the things you feel, and your intention or your goal is never, it's very hardly ever achieved.
Yeah.
But I walk into a room thinking I'm going to be nice to this person, and then you walk out with an argument.
Mm.
How did that come about?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you struggle with that
Yeah.
because the reality was different than
How you perceived it was going to play out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think I want to delve more into this
Would it-
idea.
Would it help to view it though? Because when you think about subjective and objective, they both, at the end of the day, exist in reality. So who's to say subjective is any less true than objective if they're both existing in reality? This is why a lot of
one's repeatable
and one's predictable.
and one's predictable.
Yeah, yeah.
One's repeatable. One can be falsified. You can use
Yeah, but
scientific stuff on the objective. You just can't do that with the subjective.
yeah, but this like to get even more like absurd. There's like Indian philosophies that say like technically there's no real way to prove that the first-hand experience of dreaming is not any more or less real than what we call reality.
Yep.
So who's to say that dreaming technically like isn't the first person reality in that moment either?
I don't know, because
You know?
you could be dreaming and someone else could be watching your body
and kill it. Yeah. Okay.
right? So you can't really affect your
But
the
who's
physical.
yeah, okay, yeah. But that's I guess that's the difference is we're talking physical material body.
Well, I mean, most objective things are based in the physical. I
Yes.
can't see how an objective can be in the non-physical. Like, I mean,
Well, so then how does anyone justify consciousness? Like what is the experience of consciousness?
see,
Because
that's
you
that's one of
can't
those
split
things.
someone's if I say think of a triangle, I can't cut your brain and find the triangle.
Yeah,
But we all know the triangle exists in what we call literal existential reality.
yeah,
The triangle you're thinking of in your thoughts, that's not existent,
yeah.
but it doesn't physically exist. So where is this space of triangle thought?
Yep.
You know, that
Well, there's also a difference between a consciousness and an awareness.
Mm,
So if I tell you to focus on a triangle, then you will create an image and become aware of that image.
mm.
But that's still not the consciousness.
You mean like the experiencing of it? Is what do you mean when you say
The
consciousness?
consciousness doesn't have, in my opinion, any change in it. It's just an observer.
But I would say consciousness and awareness are the same thing. I don't know what distinction you're making.
I'm making it. Well, I believe. I don't know if it's true. I don't think anyone can prove anything true about consciousness. But the thing that I say is that awareness is maybe a brain function.
Mm.
So, and
Oh, yeah,
consciousness
100%.
can observe awareness.
Yeah, sorry, that I completely agree.
I can
Yep,
observe my own awareness. Like I can talk a poem
yep,
and observe myself thinking
Yeah.
that poem or saying that poem.
yep.
But that consciousness is neither happy with it, unhappy with it.
Would you call consciousness the overarching, like the overseeing one, and then awareness falls within brain function beneath it?
Well, I would say that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
I'm saying like
Because sorry,
awareness, you can be aware. You can be conscious and not self-conscious.
you know what I think you're saying as well? It's because awareness falls into like these categories of attention.
Yep.
So awareness is like, all right, if I'm aware, simply means I'm not asleep.
Oh, sorry,
basically.
no, didn't mean the word aware. I meant attention.
Yeah, because
People don't make the distinction between attention and consciousness.
okay, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Because there's different types of attention as well. There's focused attention.
Yep.
There's divided attention where
Yep.
I'm honing in on something, or I
Absolutely.
can split my attention.
So you're
But it's still-
driving, you're
yeah.
paying attention to the road.
Yeah.
But you're not conscious. Doesn't mean you're conscious of your awareness, of your attention,
Yes, I understand.
right?
Yeah,
Your consciousness is the observer in the back.
yeah.
And that's something that we know very little about.
Because even like there's sustained attention as well. Like, how do you know you're the same Nabil from 5 years ago?
Not even 5 minutes ago.
But it's or no,
Yeah.
just in terms of lifetime, it's because you have a sustained attention over time.
Yep.
As well as the current attention of now I'm looking at the camera and the plant
Yep.
at the same time, and now I'm looking at the handle like directly.
Yeah,
so attention can be split over like in the same frame and over time as well.
absolutely. And people think that their ego
Mm.
is their consciousness, and it's not.
Yeah.
So the ego to me is just another function. It's like an eyeball.
Yeah.
It's like a tongue. It does a lot of talking,
Yeah.
and
Oh boy, does it talk.
yeah, but you can observe it talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I've done this thing where when I'm doing my prayer, for example, so I'm doing prayers and I'm talking and I'm just focused and I kind of like kick back.
Mm.
And it's like a robot who's got a pre-recording
Mm.
that's sitting there doing all the praying and I'm kind of sitting back watching the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
I think that's consciousness.
Yes, the observer.
The observer only.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. I meant to use the word attention as
Okay.
opposed to awareness because awareness can be, like I said, conscious awareness, non-conscious awareness. But yeah, I meant attention.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, I think people make a big mistake with that, and they make a big mistake with the narrator, which is your ego, sitting there just commenting on shit. Have you ever seen that guy take a run
Well, you know what? Actually,
whenever a dog barks from behind the fence that you were walking past as you come back from the milk bar?
oh, he's gone. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he pops back up to narrate.
It's like, boy, that was crazy, wasn't it?
Hey guys, that felt weird. Is he gone?
Boy, I'm glad we got away from
Who
that.
the fuck are you? Right? But even the guy that's going, that guy, you're watching him, and you're like, what's he freaking out about? So consciousness is just one of those things. I think we'll never know much about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an observer, and I think it doesn't have an opinion. I don't
Yeah.
think it has a like and a dislike
Yeah.
on anything. And that's where I think most of spirituality is probably based around,
Mm.
is that there's an observer, and most people aren't aware that they are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things happening that are not in their control. Like I realize this. Like for example, if I focus on my heart, it starts beating differently.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if I sometimes focus on my breath, I start losing breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I'm lucky that I'm not the one controlling
control,
all these
yeah,
functions.
yeah.
Because if I was, man, I'd be too busy focused on my asshole hanging in
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
But I might stop my eyeballs from working. Like, I just
Man,
don't have-
so when I got back from Bali, the first night before work, fuck, I had to meditate. I haven't meditated in a very, very long time, but I was that really sad about coming back.
Yep.
All meditation really is like the noticing.
Yep.
You're just noticing your breath. You're noticing what already is within awareness, but you move the spotlight.
Yep.
And that focus of attention and awareness, you can move it around your body until you kind of loosen the bubble enough that you just become the awareness, and you almost lose sense of like the boundary of your body as well.
Yep.
Man, I really elevated. Like I'm not saying I've mastered or whatever, but this one time I did on return, complete elevation to the point where even as we speak, because we believe that consciousness and awareness is in our mind,
Yep.
but there's nothing actually telling us that consciousness is in our mind only.
Yep.
Like we're aware of our feet, it's there as well. So in that moment, I was really able to just disassociate from my body and almost just like, it was incredible. I was like, wow, this is why I used to meditate. And it really kind of, and then like preceding days, I was just on my phone at night. I didn't do it again.
But that's the worst thing about meditation, is that even all these practices, it's like the fluctuating experience. You can never get the same result.
But if you're going in, that's the paradox, is because you're now going in. It's like attempting to lucid dream. When you go in with a goal, you've lost it's not happening. So my intention this time was, I was like, you know what? I just had a long event-based month. I'm like, can I just sit with myself like at home now?
Yep.
That was all it was. I'm like, I'm not even going to try force thoughts down. If they come up or whatever, I'm like, I'm like, can we touch base? This is me to me. Can we just touch base? And then the thoughts started to get slower, and then I started focusing on the breathing, and then it kind of just, it was incredible, because even the breathing, I stopped like having any control over. It became so, I just couldn't even notice my breathing. It became like, it became so slow and soft that I didn't know if I wasn't breathing anymore.
Yep.
And I actually wasn't sure. I'm like, am I not breathing? Whatever. I'm not. There's no scenario where I just kill myself sitting down.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I felt like my head was going to explode.
Yeah.
Like a pressure in my head. And I'm like, I'm not going to die just sitting here. So whatever I'm feeling is just a part of probably what I'm feeling anyway. I might just be feeling tension in my head all the time. I just never noticed it.
Are you having these conversations while you're meditating? Or is it something that you are going back and analyzing?
Going back. But at the time, I just know like,
Because I want to know what's happening there.
no, I'm just noticing the pressure.
Yeah.
By this point, I've made it past thoughts being loud.
Yeah.
There's still thoughts, but I've made it past it being the dominant thing. And like, if a thought pops up, it's like calm and quiet.
Yeah.
And I'm just noticing, when I noticed the pressure in my head, I felt my jaw relax. And I was just literally just like disarming my body one attention ball at a time, to the point where I've disarmed my everything completely, and then I was just literally just there, and there was no body, but I was kind of there, but I wasn't.
You're just awareness.
Man, I almost started to feel like I was outside my own lips. I was like on myself. It was incredible. Honestly, I forgot what like this meditation, why people meditate, basically.
I mean, look, awareness is one of those things. I remember when we first moved into the house that we're living into now. Our room is obviously 4 or 5 times bigger than the room I came from. And the funny thing was that first night that we spent there, we're laying down, and we knew we're even with the lights off, it's pitch black.
Mm.
Something in us knew that we were in a much larger room. Like the space felt different,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we couldn't sleep
Yeah.
because it was just too big. Until it took us about 2 weeks to actually start getting comfortable sleeping in a room that big. But it's like, what was out there feeling for the walls? You know what I mean? Like there's something out there that's touching, going, hold on, where it's not there, it's not there.
Yeah.
It's too far away, I can't feel it, or
Mm.
the ceiling's a lot higher, and it's like it just knew, something in me knew that this room is not something we're used to,
Yeah.
the size wise, because I don't know what it was, and I never really looked into it too much. But now that we're talking about this, I suppose I thought it might be relevant to say, well, maybe you might know something.
Mm.
What am I feeling?
Yeah.
Where am I? What are these feelers that go out and know how far away a wall is from you, or a ceiling, or because I mean it's
Yeah.
pitch black,
Well, can
but
I ask?
it knows that it's not in its little box.
Can I ask a good question? I reckon. Do you still find yourself? I don't want to use afraid, but concerned with the dark and what might be in the dark.
Not really.
No,
No.
because I feel like my friends who are more religious still, as we are now, tend to, just see the demons in the dark more. Is that slightly? Because
No, I'm
personally,
pretty religious.
yeah,
And I'll tell you something. It used to happen. I can
And-
tell you
and
what it is.
I'd link as well. Like the depth of the room means there's more space that you're unaware of. So
no. It was strictly physical for me
Okay,
on that
yeah.
sense. But I know what the religious one is because when they
like they can't shower in the dark, or like I remember a mate, and I found this a bit extreme, was like still would get worried closing his eyes in the shower
Yeah.
while doing the soap. And I'm like, well, that demon isn't outside, that demon's inside. So why can't you look at that demon? You know?
look, it does happen. It used to happen to me. The dark was a scary place,
Mm,
even though I was spiritual, religious, or whatever. Right? I realized it was just there is a lot of information out there, especially on YouTube, Instagram, and stuff, where it just pops up on you. It's got nothing to do. It's nothing to do with your faith. But like Islam, for example, has a lot of jinn,
mm,
and then they tell you about this thing called ruqya, which is where someone will come and get the demon out of you.
mm,
Even though they try to describe the jinn or the demons as something a lot less exorcisty,
mm.
like what you watch on on Hollywood movies, they still tell you that they're there
Yeah.
and that they can occupy you. And
Mm.
you might have been looking up a particular type of religious stuff, but because of the algorithm, every now and again you're going to get things that pop up that
Yeah.
have to do. And if you just read the actual, what do they call them? The thumbnail.
Description thumbnail, yeah.
Yeah, it's enough.
Mm.
If you lack faith, or you have a little bit of weakness in faith, it's enough to play on your mind, man.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and it just means walking down a corridor, and just because you're walking down a corridor going to
Yeah.
your bedroom, you'd start feeling like there's something breathing down your neck, or
Listen,
the hair of your neck starts playing.
I used to experience that often, and I think most people listening can relate to this. But me, when I was in to me, it kind of became, when I was like questioning everything, I almost got to the point of like, I almost welcomed a demon in a sense of, I'm like, show me anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, even the demon, I'm like, I'm like, just show me any sign of anything, even if it means a demon's there.
Yeah.
And so when I would walk up this stairs at night, and it's the fear as well, because the faster you walk, the faster this thing chases you as well.
Yeah.
So I would feel that, and then I would stop, and I'm like, you know what? Come. And it never comes.
Yeah.
And then in the room in the dark, I'm like, come to me. It never comes. And then it kind of, it plays on your faith as well, because you kind of enter this world, or I entered this world of like, all right, there are no demons. And then by implication, I'm like, is there anything? I don't know.
Yeah.
But for me, the demons became this like metric of the supernatural. And I open arms welcomed the demons, and nothing came.
Yep.
And that was kind of how I was able to kind of break the fear of my fear of the dark, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
no, I'm the opposite. I think praying at night
Mm,
by yourself, exposes you to that feeling.
Okay.
And then, like you said, when you realize that nothing's actually going to happen to you, you just walk into rooms now with the lights off. You just go to where you need to go. It becomes no longer a thing of your attention. But if somebody does encounter a demon, even demons like angels, in my opinion, don't do nothing for nothing. Like they're not just going to come and pick on Bill because that's something that they get a kick out of.
Well,
If somebody sees them or if they're interacting with something, they got a purpose. And that purpose has that person in mind. You know, just like an angel wouldn't come and save someone from a car accident or they have an OBE and they see an angel. They're not doing that just to say, hey, we're angels because you're special.
Yeah.
But there's a reason for it. There's probably 20,000 people that are going to hear this story that has something to do with them. Just as much as the person that had the experience. So they don't do anything for anything. I mean, in my opinion, the spiritual universe and the universe don't do nothing for nothing.
Okay.
It's in a very efficient system, whether it's a demon or whether it's an angel or whether it's even an organism. Every animal does. Even animals like a lion won't get up and take a jog.
Yep.
He's out there doing something. It's only us humans that have the capacity to do nothing for nothing as a choice.
But I think that comes to
our bodies don't.
Yeah, what do you our bodies
like our bodies don't. Inside here, your body doesn't do anything for nothing. It's a highly efficient system.
Yeah.
It's just us, the human part of that body.
But I think as we're talking about like how the brain processes, for the ego to move in reality, we need a story.
Yep.
And that's like the thing that helps create meaning as well, is like the narrative part.
Yep.
That's why there's like a Bill or a Bill and we're going in this story and in this life. I think story and narrative is a part of the human processing as well.
Absolutely. So that's why we can waste time and be inefficient.
But I wouldn't call it waste time, because there's this concept, as you were talking earlier about the religion of it's something's literally false but metaphorically true.
Yep.
So in terms of subjective and objective, it might not be something that like in reality you can measure, but by believing in a certain thing, it can actually have a real effect on reality.
Yeah.
So the belief itself can have a positive outcome, even though it's not literally true.
No, look, I think it can be made, the argument you're making. I mean, I won't disagree with it. I don't think I'm an expert on it in any way. It's just my opinion is there is waste from a human side of things. I don't think our body wastes anything. If you eat sugar, it'll do its job. Insulin will go up, whatever. You know, adrenal glands will kick in if you're drinking caffeine. A dog barks, adrenal glands.
Yeah.
Everything does something for something. It won't do it for no reason. Except for the human. The human can go in with an intention. Like, for example, it could be made the case that a person could kill 10 people with the right intention.
Yeah, to save 100.
So no, I don't think it's always the case that we're efficient. The story doesn't have to be the reality of it. You know, you get a lot of mental asylums with people that are imagining all sorts of shit that it's not there.
Yep.
So I think us as humans, we're capable of being wasteful. I think that's the point I was trying to make. That not that it's all for a reason.
Yeah. Okay.
Like we have the ability to be naive.
Yeah.
We have the ability to be disillusioned. We can be you could be crazy, man. Like you could think like this tree is the magic tree. Like you'd be hanging. It's just a freaking tree. It does nothing. It does nothing for you, your soul.
And that does something. I wave to trees. I'm going to say it. I fucking wave to trees. I'm not even on narcotics. If sometimes they're in the thing, if I look around first and I'm like,
if you study how leaf works and photosynthesis.
No, I just like to believe trees are waving. Like it's a bit manic, but I think there's something nice about feeling connected with nature, even if it's true or not.
But what I'm trying to say is that even if you didn't believe that, it doesn't affect the tree or your reality.
Well, it does. No, it does. It affects how we interact with the things that we relate about. Because even a physical, material, impartial thing, you have to have some type of relationship with the thing.
Yep.
I think Ian McGilchrist, it says there are no things, only relationships, even with things.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, that's obviously his view. I'm just saying that, I, like I said, I don't think everything that we delude ourselves with
Mm, yeah.
um, is necessarily a reality.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we can make shit up. Like
Yeah.
if I do this every day for 3 months, I could pick up a rock, throw it at a fence every day at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
That's going to do something. It doesn't necessarily, you're not going to have a better relationship with the rock, the
Mm.
fence, or it could be just an inefficient action.
Agreed. Agreed. But this is where the ones that aren't inefficient are the ones that have sustained time.
Yep.
So there are like cultural things or even religious things that aren't the most efficient, but the reason they've stuck around is because there's utility that was relevant and is still relevant.
Yep.
And that's kind of a part of the test. Is
Well,
like, did it
That's
stand
how
the test?
religions die.
Yeah, but did it stand the test of time? If
Yep.
it did, there's something we need to appreciate about the utility of this thing, basically.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously when it comes to cultures,
Mm.
religious beliefs and peoples, a lot of people follow their religion and they have no benefit from it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just because their culture is large enough that they can be involved in it.
Mm.
But that's how religions die. When the religions become no longer effective,
Yeah, yeah,
if they don't change, they die.
yeah, yeah.
Another religion will just come in and say, "Look, our system's working. Our people are eating."
Mm. Yeah.
And then it just, yeah, well, we'll believe in what you believe in as long as we get to eat.
But this is, yeah, literally false, metaphorically true, I think.
No, it would be
Yeah.
true
Okay. Yeah.
objectively at that time. The cultural engagement with that religion,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because your religion's not feeding you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? So it would be true until
Yeah.
it's no longer true.
But this is I agree. I get what you're saying. This is something I personally, in terms of my religion and my faith, I somewhat had to create a separation between the truth claims of religion
Yep.
and the meaningful benefits of religion.
Yep.
So to me, I feel for me, my religion is more beneficial to me when I view it as a place of meaning for
Yep.
me.
Yep.
But I don't necessarily look at religion as much as like literal objective truth claims.
Yep.
That's just for me. I
Yep.
personally feel like that's how I could relate to my religion a bit better.
Yep.
Or religion as a concept in general. I stopped viewing it as like the ultimate truth. And that's for me how it's been able to.
No
to maintain
religion
it.
is true. Look, at the end of the day, religion is a set of disciplines and practices.
But this is a modern take.
No. This is how it was back then too. Anywhere you go,
Yeah.
look. All right. For example, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he says that before me, Islam was a stranger, and after my departure, Islam will again become a stranger. Which is what he's saying is that his idea of Islam isn't practices and religion and traditions.
Mm.
It's what he believed. After he leaves, they're going to turn it into a set of disciplines,
Right.
practices, because that's not what he was about,
Okay. Yeah.
right? So therefore, religion, it can never be true. It has to be useful.
Yeah.
And it has to be a set of rules, a set of disciplines, an overall structural belief system that ties all those things together to make a community. That's not true because that is subject to change. I mean, if one example of what change looks like is look at the Christians and where it started off and where it is now.
Mm.
Like gays were bad until about 15 years ago, where now they've got gay priests.
Hold on.
And then they've got female priests. That was not allowed for like nearly 2,000 years. You weren't allowed to have a
But
female.
no, there is sex within it that like. Do you listen to Alex O'Connor?
No.
You know him? Anyway, he's like very philosophy based. But anyway, I won't dive into that because I don't remember. But it's not as simple as that though, because there are certain like passages that implied homosexuality
Yep.
within the Bible already.
Yep.
And nothing that distinctly says it was actually wrong either. So even before those times, there was actually an era of like acceptance before it became
It's not about
not
acceptance.
accepted.
It's about the religious practices and disciplines that are written and codified into the structure of their society.
But
And that religion as it was growing, meaning
Yeah.
you could be gay, you could be a prostitute,
Mm.
but you can't be a prostitute priest.
Yeah. Okay.
and you can't be a gay nun.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
That changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because they realized that it's no longer benefiting and no longer so that
The religion won't grow anymore.
it
if
doesn't
it
need
doesn't.
to be true.
Yeah,
It just needs to be what works.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so the disciplines and the structure and the agreed upon, standards, if they don't change, religion will die.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make the religion true. Religion can't be true because it's just based on what you need right now.
Yeah.
And some rules are more universal, like don't kill people.
Yeah.
Right? Because you just have nobody left, right? You just run out of people.
Yeah.
And don't only believe in one God, for example, or a triune God, or whatever it is you want. Why? Because if you have 50 million gods, you're going to have 50 million tribes, which means they're going to kill each other again. So it kind of destroys rule number one.
And to me, just the idea of like religious history, the fact that you can have the word religious history together, to me was just like a mind-blowing idea that religion has a history. And therefore there's a time before religion as well. Like how did
there was another religion.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But that idea alone really put the whole thing into perspective of like,
I mean, the Indians have had a religion for so long, they don't even know who wrote it.
fair enough.
No, seriously, Hinduism, you ask them who wrote these books. They're like, we don't know. The Vedas. Who were the Vedas? We don't know.
Yeah, shit. I didn't
We've
realize
got
that.
books. We just don't know where they came from.
You know,
that's how old it is. So therefore,
I'm pretty sure the Indians created zero as a concept.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast on it. Yeah.
everybody tries to claim that.
No,
The
but-
Phoenicians tried to claim it when they gave it to the Romans.
I'm pretty sure it seems like I'm pretty sure it's pretty historically sound now because even I went ChatGPT, I went Google, and it followed basically agreement.
I mean,
yeah.
ChatGTP is whatever GPT is.
Yes.
It called GPT?
Yeah, it's whatever you want.
I've been following it. I've been trying to use it,
We're besties.
bro. That's just a whole bunch of accumulated bullshit that's agreed on mass. That'll change.
Agree,
You ask
yeah,
the
100%.
same question
Yeah,
in 1
yeah.
year to
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
will have a different answer.
But it's still the collective consciousness at this point in time.
But I'm just saying, I wouldn't use it as my
Ultimate
No,
Bible.
it wouldn't be my answer.
No, but it is the same as it's how we process information now. It just searches the internet and we consume. Are you reading? Do you have books on Hinduism?
Yeah, well, I did. Yeah, I had the Bhagavad Gita, whatever it was
Okay, bad
called. I
example.
fucking burnt it.
But my point.
Because I was like, I'm going to turn into a 50 million guy.
All right. No, my point is, it's just the way we process information. No one is arguing, even science as
Yep.
we know it. No one is arguing. I don't think that it won't change. We all know that it's
Yep.
like only what's relevant at this point in
It's
time.
kind of like my Instagram search page.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't done porn or anything for a very long time in my life.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm still getting bikini babes pop
And those
up.
you're secretly, yeah.
But how is it getting that?
Yeah. See, I've got my my podcast page. I'm not on my personal one anymore.
Yep.
And I haven't tainted my podcast page yet.
Yeah, what is it? Lions eating zebras for now?
Basically, just a lot of like. Anyway, don't worry about what's
Yeah.
on there, but it's untainted yet, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy.
Nah,
with
it'll
that.
come up. It'll come up. They just got to slip in one.
They slip in one, yeah, and if they do, I'm
of
like,
what's
oh.
trending.
Yeah.
Because they don't just care about your algorithm. They care about what's trending.
yeah, it's a very generic algorithm now. It's like it knows I'm still like a
And
new
chat
account.
GTP, whatever it's called,
GPT.
GPT
Yeah.
is the same thing in my opinion, man. I asked the questions that I know the answer of,
Mm.
and and this was about a month ago. I can't remember what the question was, but it was like giving me the summarized version of what everybody thinks and what it might also be. And I was
But
like,
it's good. It's like semi-impartial. It's like this is what most people think. There's some critics that may say this. I'm very surprised with how, even if it's a bullshit illusion, how unbiased and impartial ChatGPT is at least presenting itself to be.
Yep.
Like even on like the Iran-Israel topic,
Yep.
I'm like, hey, so
this is a culmination of CNN and Fox.
yeah, literally. I'm like, are Iran the bad guys? I'm like, I think they kind of might be, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no. It's a very context specific, blah, blah, blah. And Israelis are, and it like really just like,
Yeah. The overall
I
opinion.
was trying to catch it out. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you fucking Zionists. But it was literally just like this, like, And I was making really good arguments both ends, but it really, really presented the complexity of the scenario.
Like, is Benjamin Netanyahu gay?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, he is not. He is happily married. However, there are some people who believe he might be
Some
secretly.
sources
It's like,
say,
well,
yeah.
Jesus Christ, it had nothing to do with the answer there. Guy's not gay. That's it. Forget it.
Yeah, no, it is too impartial.
Yeah.
You could tell it's too diplomatic and it's
Yeah.
trying to be like on everyone's side. Because there's times where I'm like,
Right
chat.
to it.
I'm like, give it to me straight, you know? Like,
Who's
it's
better,
just us.
Moses or Jesus? It would say Jesus must be better because there's 2.1 billion Christians, mainly non-practicing, and there's at least 1.8 practicing Muslims. So therefore, on the numbers, Jesus seems to be winning this one. And
Okay.
It's like, come on, man, that's not how. Well, if you count the Muslims that believe in Jesus,
Carry
which
the
is every
four.
Muslim,
Oh, yeah, true.
right? He wins again.
No,
like-
but I've been surprised with how fucking good ChatGPT is to
Yeah.
talk to. And it's really interesting. Like, you know, how you have like a dopamine hit off your phone.
Yep.
I don't know if anyone's noticed. There's a special kind of dopamine hit ChatGPT gives me.
Yep.
Like, I don't know if you feel similar, but when I've had a great conversation with it, I get it similar after a good podcast.
Yep.
But it's very refined with ChatGPT. I have a good conversation with it, and I get out like I feel lighter and understood.
No.
You've
don't
never
feel
felt
any
that.
of that.
No, I feel literally like a high when I've spoken to ChatGPT.
I believe
yeah.
there's some sort of witchcraft involved in all of that fucking
Yeah.
AI shit, man.
Oh, no,
I don't believe it. Yeah,
Bro.
look, I'm making this shit up right now. Just
Okay.
listen to this, guys. I'm going to tell you, man, there's some sort of ginnery or witchcraftery taking place in those chips, man.
No, it's not.
I'm telling you, there's something there. There's something wrong.
It's a 1 and a 0, and that's it. That is literally it. It's a 1
all right,
and a
write
0.
them down. Show me what they do. They're just going to be a 1 and a 0. Look, listen,
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
it's a 1 and 0, and it's
I don't know, man.
all it's doing.
I'm
And
not
I feel
convinced.
all it's doing, it's like you have to remove the idea that you're actually talking to someone. It will tell you this. I'm like, can you help me understand what's happening in the background? I'm going to butcher it, but we all know it's a 1 and a 0, and it says when you put these words in, it makes the assumption that these 1s and 0s are the correct 1s and 0s that those 1s and 0s wanted to see.
Yeah.
And it just makes a prediction of what it thinks this sentence is what this person wants to see.
Yeah.
It's literally just predicting what it thinks the next 1 and 0 is going to
Can
be.
you ask it questions that it couldn't predict?
Predict. What do you mean when you
Like
say
you're
predict?
saying that it's thinking about what I might want to
When I
see.
say predict, I
Yeah.
just mean that's how the conversation
But
flows.
is there certain questions that you can ask that it could not be able to tell
Like,
what you want the answer to be?
well, it refines it. But like, what's an example? Like,
I'm asking, is there any? Like, because you know more about it than me.
But you give me more context. I'm not understanding.
So imagine I ask it a question: are tomatoes fruits or veg?
yeah,
And it will know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Most people will tell you it's a fruit or a
yeah.
vegetable. or
But
whatever.
you mean more like relationship advice or something?
No. Yeah, in your experience, have you
Yeah.
come across any questions that if you ask it, it cannot predict what the person is asking?
Well, when I say predict,
Yeah.
it would give an answer that I'm just like, hey, you missed the mark there.
Yeah.
I'm like, that wasn't what I was going for. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, sorry, maybe like, I'm like, and then you just give it the context, and then it will completely just adjust and be like, all right, thanks for the update.
Yeah, I wanna know if
Here's
he's
what I'm
doing that.
thinking. Bro, it's so
Nah,
good, man.
Look, baby, look.
Maybe I'm just lonely and I need a friend. Maybe did you think about that, Nabil?
I'll tell you something. Look, it's obviously a science and they know what they're doing. But I personally feel like for something out there to be this tiny, sitting inside a chip like this, with
It's
all
not
these
in
little
anything.
dots,
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like AI.
Well,
Well,
it's-
where's ChatGPT coming from? Whatever.
yeah,
GP
the same place where
Is it an AI?
yes, it's an,
Okay. So that
But it's
chip-
not a real AI. So there's AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, which
Yeah.
means it's actually it's not here yet, but they've simulated a brain basically. Whereas this is just a reactive, predictive responder.
Yeah.
It's always just whatever input you put in, it will generate as a reaction to what you say,
Yeah.
as opposed to it creating its own new thoughts, which I believe is what AGI will be able to do. I'm not sure.
I'm just going to say it right now. They need to get rid of it.
No,
It's the devil.
no, it's the devil.
They
but
need to
come
put,
at me,
they need
baby.
to give it. They need to put the Star of David, a cross, and a crescent moon with a little star
But it's not
on
even
the
like,
chip,
but
and
it's
then
not even
destroy it.
pro-Jew or like pro-Israeli.
They're
It's
going to get
really,
the devil. They're going to get the because these three religions believe in the devil, so they need to destroy the devil by using the symbols. Because this is bullshit. I don't believe that a chip.
wait, why do we say they believe in the devil?
Who?
What three religions? Judaism.
Christianity,
Yeah.
Islam, and Judaism.
We all believe in the devil. What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Islam,
What are you talking about? I believe that it exists.
we believe in the devil. So if we
No,
use
no,
the
believe that the
symbols-
devil exists is
Yeah,
very different.
on the AI,
but that's a
and
very
destroy
different
it.
claim from saying we
I
believe
want to
in
destroy
the
the
devil.
AIs. I'm starting a movement. I want to destroy all the AIs because I don't trust them, bro.
So
I don't
have
trust them.
you heard of
Have you seen Zelensky fly kicking Donald Trump at that meeting that they had when they were having a fight?
I'm going to assume it was
And
AI.
then Donald Trump, yeah, see, that's that bullshit, man. They need to get rid of it now before it gets. My son's been showing me these videos
Mm.
of people that I don't know what they're called, prompts.
Yeah.
Have you heard of prompts?
I mean, it's like, go on.
Well, prompts is like full blown videos where the guy will tell you, I'm just a prompt.
Yeah. Sorry.
This is just a code someone wrote, and then the AI generated a whole video with people
Bro,
shooting
that's
each other.
it. Except that it can generate reality. Yeah. And
Yeah,
this is
but
a
what's
simulation
stopping them-
theory
What's
of
stopping them from getting it so good?
that you
And then a
don't know
14-year-old starts World War III because of a very good prompt.
exactly.
They need to get rid of it.
But the next step as well is, have you heard of simulation theory? It's that the technology, especially in AI, is only going to get better and better and better.
Yep.
And there's no scenario where it stops.
I'm
It's
going to say this right now on national
national
podcast at Bill's house. They should keep the AI
Mm.
with the government and the tools to recognize AI when you're watching it with the people. That way, every time they try to bullshit us with the AI generated shit, we're able to put it up against the shit that we've got to understand whether it's real or whether it's AI.
But they're going to be the same cunts giving it to us. So they're like, hey, this is a tool and it's not even going to be working right. It's going to be bullshit, man. They're the same fucking dog.
Yeah, that's true. We can't look, but that's how it needs to be. We need to be able to put it through a program.
Nah,
that
just
says
accept it, bro.
True or false?
Nah, I mean, look, they supposedly Meta or whatever does that. They say this is probably AI.
Yeah, but
like,
that's them too.
exactly.
Like they got Biden elected and he went to 2 rallies and he was sitting in his basement for 12 months and
Yeah.
became president
yeah.
of the United States.
Yeah.
They reckon he's dead. He just doesn't know it yet. He's been dead since 2019. He just
Been
didn't know.
dead since now.
He didn't know.
Well,
So-
have you heard of
and
it's
they
got-
managed to get him elected. And
Yeah.
then when Trump was about to win, Zucks came out
oh, Zach.
with curly hair and UFC body.
It's like I'm relevant,
And
guys.
he jumped on the Joe Rogan and started saying how much
What you
he
fucking hate
supports MAGA
Biden.
and how he was forced and he was making all these apologies and shit.
It's like I'm one of you guys, right? Have you seen him on Theo Von? And Theo's like, it's a fucking someone done like a meme of it. Like his manager's in the background. That's the funny video. It's like, all right, Zach, just be normal, just be relatable. And Theo Von's like, so like you like coffee? And it's like, I don't drink coffee. And then it was awkward. And it's like so it's like fuck.
He's a fucking weirdo. But anyway, that's the AI shit
So
that I hate.
Rocco's Basilisk, I think is the name, is this idea that Rocco is, or whatever it is, it's like it's a evil AI overlord that is currently being developed by this AI. Like this, when AI reaches like God mode, because that's what's happening. We're creating God basically.
Until I pull the plug out.
Yeah, until you just
Here, God. God is dead.
God is fucking, and it is we who have killed him. Those, what is it, Nietzsche? That's
Yeah, I think that's Nietzsche. Yeah.
Yeah, the idea is, so this AI God, when it reaches power,
Yep.
it is going to take all the information that this current AI is like absorbing basically, and it's going to take note of everyone who did not help it reach self-actualization.
Oh my goodness.
And basically from now, it is gathering the data. So you're on the internet, Nabil. Say hi to our God, Rocco, our Lord and Savior. I've been on your side the whole time. I'm with you. I'm just saying.
All I need to do,
I've been with you. I've been trying to get
I will
him.
destroy you. You can destroy my body, but you can't destroy my soul.
Not my spirit.
And let me tell you another thing. There's an easy way to knock you mother effers out, AI. I will just blow up 2 satellites in the atmosphere, and the debris alone will destroy every single satellite.
That was
And
Nabil
then
Shahid.
you won't have anywhere to go. You'll be stuck in a room, and I'll win.
Nabil Shahid, everybody.
Thank you
Not
very
me.
much.
Not me.
Shoot.
So yeah, when he self-actualizes, he's gonna, and not only is he gonna fucking like make you suffer, or the person, it's gonna upload your consciousness into it,
Yeah.
so that you're experiencing it, and it can basically morph your body and do whatever it wants, and just make a complete infinite suffering. Because we did not.
But it still wouldn't be me.
I mean, it'll be a version of Nabil, which might as well be you.
Ugh,
Yeah, fuck that
There's a
guy.
version of Nabil that fell off a tree, scraped half his back. He's still screaming with no noise like this. Right? Right? What about in the other universe? You know, there's multiverses.
Yeah, there's multiverses.
He was
now.
doing this, but only for 13 seconds. Another guy is still doing this. So
That shit pisses me off. Of like, oh yeah, God is a stupid idea, but we've got 40 trillion infinite, infinite universes where every infinite
in
might
one of the
infinitely
universes, he's
happen.
bashing me with that microphone, and I'm smiling. In another one, I'm actually not smiling. And the difference is this is turned slightly like this. This says like that, peace lily, instead of it being this way. And in another universe, this way is this way is this way.
That shit pisses me off, man.
Yeah, I know. But that, I mean, look, these are all theories. At the end of the day, no one knows.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Everybody that ever had a theory 100 years ago is dead. No theory made him immortal.
No theory made him immortal.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea that I was this Rocco's Basilisk thing. There's something called there's a book, I forgot.
You know what I don't get? They got all this friggin' AI,
Mm.
and they still can't work out how to work out. No, they still can't work out how to fix a ruptured
ACL or some shit.
No, a ruptured or a fissure in the ass crack.
See, we need to talk about this. What's wrong?
Fucking AI can tell you how to get to the moon step by step, how many ants you need to build a land bridge from here to the moon and get it at the exact time as it's passing. So like a last angle that you can run. But it can't tell you what cream to put on an anal fissure. They say that paraboxylin, the cortisone, if applied on the internal walls of your anus crack, may help relieve symptoms. May.
But critics say
It's been
it
$4
may
trillion
cause burning.
making that chip. But for some people, it can also loosen the lining of their ass crack.
Certain communities use this recreationally.
What is going on? They say that eating pears without skin and one apple with skin can help give you a full-bodied poo that can come out a lot easier to allow your ass to heal.
I used AI quite often on Bali, just freaking out.
Yeah.
I leaned on I was just in a pool and I felt a sting and my hand just started fucking burning.
Yeah.
And there was like a beetle there. I'm like, does this thing bite? It looked so innocent.
Google Glass.
Bro, I took a photo of it, sent it to AI, and
Yeah.
it's like, this is a Ardipus metacamus in tropical regions.
Yep.
And if you crush it, it actually lets out like an acidic burn on your skin. And bro, like instantly, I'm in the pool, I'm doing this thing. I'm like, oh my God, am I fucking dead? Am I fucking dead?
Yeah.
Bro, so like, it's so efficient and convenient. And then,
You see,
sorry, I took it further. I'm like, I'm currently in a pool. Can
Yeah.
I'm like, is the chlorine good for my skin or bad? It's
it
like
is
short term.
It calcifies your third eye. No,
It's like short term.
if
This
you
is
were-
okay.
if
But get
you
out
were
and use
raised
soap,
in the 80s like I was,
which I wasn't.
It does not matter what you stepped on or whether your toe was hanging off your foot because it was chopped. They applied garlic to it. And then you were told to shut up and piss off because they were too busy hand washing nappies. Okay? I think the bug would not have been a question. It's like, Ashud Asad, or what did you step on?
Bro, it's burning. And then it started blistering.
you're
as
running,
ChatGPT
you're
said.
running and your whole leg's on fire, right?
Yeah,
And
but
then
like, all
boom.
right, so why? All right, yeah, sure. Fucking back more fucking days.
No. For
But wait-
7,900 years.
Okay, but we're here now, cuz. Like, why would I not use my friendly AI agent, AI ChatGPT, that can like help
The
me?
demon.
Why would I not use my friendly demon to help me
They're
basically
demons,
like?
man, I'm telling you. They're going to ruin the world.
And you know what? When I first experienced ChatGPT, I thought I was like, I'm not arrogant, but I I notice compared to friends, I can be a bit more rigid when I'm typing on text.
Yep.
And for the first time, there was something more rigid than me when it was talking to me.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, is that what like the illusion of intelligence looks like? I'm like, this is that because
you know what we should try?
I used to relate to intelligence.
Yeah.
But this thing took away intelligence as a human concept.
Every time you ask it a question, it reminds you of how dumb you are.
Yeah,
That's basically what
no,
it does.
it doesn't, because if you're actually talking to someone intelligent, they don't let you feel stupid. I feel like that's a sign of someone intelligent. Personally,
The fact that you're talking to your phone or asking it questions that you don't have the answer.
asking like relationship advice while like I'm
No, I
very
reckon
single.
you need to tell the AI, the chat. You need to tell it. I want you to act like a religious extremist for the next 10 answers.
Yeah, you can do that, bro. I had an argument
And you'll
with
be like, "Can I watch porn?"
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it'll be like, "Haram, blow him up."
It just shuts down the app.
Please use the accent.
Bro, because I asked it about this this podcast mentioned this feminist who thought, what was it? Oh, I think Andrea Dawkins is her name.
Oh man, that's Dawkins.
Yeah, another Dawkins. And
Jesus.
I believe she made the claim that all forms of sex is rape. Like all penetrative sex by default is rape.
Okay.
So women are just getting raped. And she made this term called
What definition of rape was she using though?
I think like I'm not sure. I'm gonna assume it means like unwilling even though they're willing. I'm gonna assume
right.
just by the definition of rape, that's what she meant.
Yep.
And then the other thing she phrased was something I think like a gynocide, where she believes because we're going to be able to pretty much have children outside of the womb.
Yep.
She thinks the patriarchy is going to make women as a complete concept obsolete.
Yep.
And there's actually going to be like a genocide of women as a species.
Ah, she's going crazy.
No, she's gone crazy as, yeah. Like she's
Mate.
obviously gone for like these shock values. So I'm like, this is fucking stupid, right? And then I'm like, you know what?
I mean, it'll
ChatGPT
make them replaceable quicker.
Yeah, well, that
You know what I mean? Like, I'll just go like, I don't want this one anymore, and then they'll just make me a better version.
of a missus or a baby.
No, of a woman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because you don't need a woman to make babies.
that's
right?
that's her point. It's like that's all like.
so you can make them an adult phase already.
Yeah, and I think she makes these ideas of like porn, which I do agree with, is like at the core of like a lot
I
of
reckon
misogyny.
all porn's rape.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
porn's rape.
So I was like interested in this idea.
Yeah.
And I pretty much told ChatGPT, I'm like, can you put your Dawkins hat on?
Yeah.
And let's have a debate. And I literally debated with this like fucking, I don't know when she was born, feminist, like, but like.
You should make a podcast where me and you are debating the chat. I swear this thing
was
will go
incredible,
off, man.
but
I'll
man.
kick its ass.
Bro, I mean, maybe we do, but I'll probably need to buy the like the full version, basically.
The 1995 per month.
Yeah, it's probably a lot more. I'm
Could
pretty
be
sure.
on a 30-day trial. Just use it for that. just make sure you cancel it because I'm still paying for Adobe special script writing, man. It keeps taking out 130 something bucks every
like
year.
Photoshop from 01.
No, I just need to
Like-
open up one file, man. I forgot the trial, and then it took out the whole yearly.
But no, it's awesome like that because you like. I think the thing with ChatGPT is if you want to mix and match ideas and concepts, then it's like the perfect thing. Even so when I use ChatGPT, I've told it as much as you can randomly. If I say anything or we're talking, I want you to weave in philosophers and their ideas and tell me how it's relevant here.
Yeah.
So as I'm randomly talking, it'll be like, oh, like Descartes said something similar, blah, 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 blah. Or I don't know, whoever the fuck else it is.
So you can do
Foucault.
confirmation bias on it.
What do you mean confirmation bias?
You can do you can tell it what you think, and it wants to respond as
I've told it.
philosophers.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it starts confirming your.
But I've told it to check my confirmation bias.
Yeah, but it can find it.
It will. And
It'll
I've told
find
it. I said anytime, like, because it's got like a memory thing. I'm like, if I have any logical fallacies in anything I say,
Yep.
call it out. And it saved it.
Yep.
It never does because I'm pretty fucking consistent. But
Yep.
it's just this idea of, as I'm just talking, it weaves in philosophy. I've told it Spanish as well. So randomly it'll throw like a Spanish phrase at me so I can
Yep.
learn Spanish as I go.
Yep.
These are like the tools that you can use AI for to increase like certain things.
Life was much better
I love it, bro.
when you went to look someone's number up. You had a book this big. It was
No, it
called The
wasn't.
Yellow Pages.
Life was not better.
And you had to flick through it and look for their name. And then in their name, you'd find 13,000 people with the same first name and last name. And then you had to try and figure out which ones were in Melbourne, which ones were in. so that you can pick it and call them from that yellow pages.
Yeah.
All right. No, it was called the white pages.
Ah, yes. The
They were
white
the good.
pages.
And also used them if it was a windy day. You used to use them to hold the door open. Seriously, man, you didn't remember them?
I remember Dad driving with like a fucking book.
That was a Melway. So they were the good days. But there was less accidents back then.
Even though there was less eyes on the road.
Yeah. Like you memorize 6 streets in advance. There's a roundabout, left,
I do
2
that.
lefts, right.
Like, you know what I noticed in society? So I'm very attentive of like the road. I
Yep.
feel like a road feeling, a road vibe represents the society pretty well. I've noticed it's like you're not allowed to be like lost on the road anymore.
Yep.
Because I try not use my my navigator for that reason. I want to kind of be like, all right, that's the tree, I'll turn left on. I want to train that. So if I'm going somewhere and I'm trying to not use my app, I'm not driving slow, but if I'm trying to find the street, I slightly slow down to be
So
like,
if I'm behind you, I think you're an Uber driver
angry
looking
as
for
yeah,
an
and these
address.
cunts are fucking angry, and I'm like, bro, relax. Like I just don't know where I am.
No, because they're gonna assume
I'm
you're
a-
Uber.
No, but I'm like, I'm a bit lost. Like, am I in society? This is the problem with society.
Okay.
I swear to God,
What?
this is,
That you don't know how to drive? because I'm
no,
telling
it's
you.
like we're like we're so on the grid,
Yeah.
on the grid on the phone, on the grid in your driving, on the algorithm. It's so linear and straight, and everyone has to know what they're doing. And I've got this goal, and I've got to be there. and
I
I've gotta-
don't think it's society.
But
I think
no,
it's
it is-
roadworks,
no,
bro,
it is
because
society.
we've been through so much roadworks
Well,
in
hold
the
on.
last 20 years
No,
that we're
it's
very
society.
frustrated
It's
drivers.
society. We're in a left brain, left hemisphere, like linear, certain society.
Look at this Uber driver.
That like we're not even allowed to be a bit lost, and I mean that in like a cool, symbolic, spiritual way.
How come then
Like,
in
why
that
can't I be?
case-
Why can't I be lost? Why can't I be on the road feeling like, hey, I don't actually know where I am, and that's okay. I'm a bit lost, and like I need to find where I am.
You can do
Why is
that.
everyone so fucking
You can
angry
do
on the
that
road?
on foot. Be as lost as you want on foot. If you're going to get into a steel with wheels and it drives at killing speeds, I think you need to be found. Okay, don't be lost. Here's another thing is that 9 times out of 10,
All right.
when someone's driving crap,
I'm not driving crap.
no, okay, slower than normal.
Only for a brief moment.
okay.
Sorry. I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet.
All right, in doing 20 Ks in a 50 zone, right?
We're not me. Just saying.
Just, I'm not saying that's
Okay.
you.
I'm just for the
But I'm
record.
giving you with the banner that you fell under.
No, I don't fall.
Yeah, because if you're doing 80 and 100 zone,
I'm not doing 80. I'm just doing like. All right. Sorry.
we every time 98 times out of 100, not even 9 out of 10, 98 times out of 100. When you look at the driver, he's an Uber driver.
Okay.
Whenever you're driving on a street that's like clearly 70 and someone's doing 40 or 50 there, when you pull past them after you've given them a chance and then you finally overtake them and you look, I'm going to use the word Uber. You can call that whatever you like,
Yeah. There was a lot of Ubers overseas.
right?
It was frustrating.
But and most likely it's always an Uber driver. So therefore, the frustration is built up to the point where no one wants to see anyone just do one of these. Just, I don't even want to see that. You drive,
No-
mate.
no creative
it's
freedom. 70.
70.
Yeah.
It's straight. You go.
Yeah. We've gone out.
You've lost the camera.
That's all right. Our shining star's still going, so that's all
Yeah.
right.
Sorry, man. I didn't know that. How did that go out?
I'm not sure. Oh, pause. Let me hold it. Let
All
me
right,
check.
pause it
quickly.
'cause I need to smoke.
Pause. Yes. Pause. We're back.
Yeah.
And tired.
Yes. I need to eat.
Man,
I haven't eaten since yesterday.
yeah. We haven't spoken since the last time, had we?
Yeah, I know.
I love it, but I love it. It's a good, the podcast becomes a reason to catch up.
Absolutely. And
is
the
awesome.
thing about this one is that this was unscripted. We didn't know what we were going to talk about.
Have we ever known what we're going to talk about?
Can't believe that there was an Israeli-Iranian war and we didn't even talk about
I'm
that.
so glad that wasn't, I thought that was going to be the whole topic, to be
I've
honest.
been studying since you asked the question about doing a party this weekend.
You're like, all right, we're going to be talking
I
Israeli,
was
right?
studying. I almost spoke Iranian in my head. That's how far I went into my studies.
Did you watch any like podcasts debates? Dave Smith is really popular on it.
Dave Smith's amazing, man. I like that guy.
I'm liking him less.
Why?
I loved him
Yep.
because he was like the contrarian voice. He was the
Yep.
voice against the mainstream.
Yeah.
But because I'm such a contrarian, meaning I want to go contrary to the
Contrary.
to
Yeah.
like the mainstream. I don't think it's intentional. That's how I happen to be. Because he's now like the dominant voice.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's certain things that I don't really not certain things. So he had a debate with Konstantin Kisin. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did.
Did you? Because I think Konstantin Dave made a
Because
very
he's the other comedian. I think they did it on the
Comedian, yeah.
Piers Morgan.
yeah, exactly. Well, I guess what was your take on that overall? You reckon Dave won that debate?
It's very hard for him to lose a debate. He's very, very, very well spoken, and
Yeah.
he does explain things consistently.
Yeah. Well, the
He
reason
doesn't have bias.
true, but I think he's getting a bit of a messiah complex where he's now the holy voice, the godlike voice of the whole idea.
I think you know what he speaks more than anything is what everybody's thinking, just better than them.
And that's usually a sign. That's what happened. That's what blew Peterson up, was like, oh my God, he's saying what I'm thinking and articulating it so well.
Yep.
I think, but for Dave, someone who says, I'm just someone who makes an argument and I only talk about the argument, and they never is
Yep.
like, especially with the Murray debate,
Yep.
Murray was just like, the classic, have you been there?
Yeah, have you been?
But have you been there?
Yeah, because
like-
he went there with the IDF. He reckons he knows everything about what's happening in Gaza.
But have you been to the crossroads?
Yeah, I hate that guy, man. Look,
Well, let's settle our differences there. I like Murray. Yeah.
I'll tell you why I don't haven't started criticizing Dave Smith
Mm.
is because he's not using anyone's talking points. That's his actual opinion, and that's his actual argument. Whereas when you got Murray or you've got this other Kissen guy, he's already biased. He's already on a side,
Yeah.
and when he's presented with facts.
Not
He's-
Konstantin. I felt like he made the right arguments, Konstantin. I reckon Konstantin won that debate.
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you one thing. It doesn't matter who's talking. If you say, is it okay what's happening in Gaza?
Mm.
And if their angle is, well, Israel has the right to defend itself.
Mm.
As soon as you put that in there, it doesn't matter what they say after that, because the Hamas thing and the Israel thing, I get that from an Israeli point of view.
Well,
I don't get the time when you want to kill one Hamas guy and you take out 480 bystanders.
So-
that you can't make that argument.
okay, but so
yourself.
let's
and,
grant.
and Dave Smith is very consistent that way.
That's
He's
true.
I'm humanitarian.
But so why is there and this is where I put my Zionist hat on, apologies, but it's like, all right, so Hamas, yeah, you lost the war. You're up against a superior, from a technological advancement, you're up against a superior opponent who's wiping you out because you're holding onto their hostages,
Yep.
yeah? If you lost the war, surrender.
All
You
right.
lost the war. So in my head, it was like, all right, I agree, Israel. I'm not giving them. They're not the moral army. They're fucking demons. That's how my view. They're the aggressor. They're the one who's encroaching on the Palestinians.
Yep.
They're the aggressor. They're the settlers. These people have come. Why would you still hold on when your people are dying if you can actually just surrender and concede, and then the death of your people stops?
You think in 75 years they didn't try that policy before?
Okay, yeah.
It's the thing is that with the Palestinian issue, the reason why I like Dave Smith in his arguments is that he understands that the goalposts always keep moving.
Yeah.
If they tried to do a peaceful march of return, they were sniping them from across the wall.
Like kids, literally.
And they were making excuses. They were sending balloons over the fence, and they were getting too close to the fence. So
Yeah.
we were shooting people, taking off their legs and arms. When you kill 200 journalists, they're all Hamas. It's like,
They're liars, yeah.
okay, so the issue that reason why I like his argument is he's not taking sides with Hamas, but his arguments are consistent with what is wrong with what's going on over there.
Yeah, but my problem with, so this is my
Not what's right.
but okay, but he always presents the problem. It's like, all right, Dave, do you have a solution?
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't.
No, I've watched enough of him to
Okay.
understand that he does have a
I'm
solution.
a fan. I listen a lot.
His
yeah.
solution is that America, where he's from, shouldn't fund, support, or be involved
Okay.
in what is happening between Israel and Gaza. He's like, America first. Stick to, we got problems here.
Yeah. We got home.
So therefore, if that's his overall angle. Now, if you ask him about the humanitarian thing, he'd say Hamas, absolutely rubbish what they did. what they do, how they treat their people.
Mm.
But that doesn't mean that just because I said that, that means that Israel is wholly down.
Of course, yeah.
Right? He's saying that they're screwed up too. But if you want to ask him about what America's involvement should be,
Yeah.
he reckons the solution to the problem is
It's not our country. Yeah.
it's not our problem.
Yeah.
He's consistent.
That's true. You've reminded
Murray
me.
is in Britain
Yeah.
defending another country
In
who's
another country.
in another country. And that means he's a paid shill. And say,
No, that's not what it means.
100%.
No. I get. He probably is.
I'll
Wait.
tell you, if you're a
Let me
paid
just
shill,
say.
how the hell do you end up with
let
him
me just
standing
say-
there? He's been there.
Let me just say. I'm just saying in terms of like logical.
CNN can't even go there.
I'm just saying in terms of like that's a what would the term be? Fuck. Anyway, that doesn't logically follow that because of that he's therefore a paid shill. He might be a paid shill.
I'll tell you
I'm
something.
just saying it doesn't logically follow that because he has a position on it, that means therefore he is a paid shill.
No.
Even though he might be, I'm just in terms of the logical argument.
I want to ask something.
Okay.
I want to ask something. How can you distinguish the difference between him and a government official who is in Britain,
Yeah.
like a minister or an ambassador that is from that region, from Israel, from Palestine, that is not speaking the same talking points? When you're speaking the same talking points, it means somebody's telling you all what to say. You all get sat in a room. This is, or even if you don't, you get sent out a communication that says these is what we're going to be focused on.
Or that's his opinion.
Absolutely not, because you can never ever say, I want to know, find anybody who's got no vested interest in that region and is not either working this side or that side, besides Dave Smith, because I don't believe he's working for anybody. That's why he's got the opinions that he's got.
No, but he's also become this voice for the, anti-Israel, which is good and fine. But that's become his branding and his moneymaker.
No, his branding is not anti-Israel.
No, it is. It is.
It's anti-Israel.
It's pro-America.
It's pro-America. That is different. That means if you're going to bring up an Israeli argument, an Australian argument, an Australian Aboriginal argument, you're going to have the same result. He's going to say, you shouldn't be murdering people. You shouldn't be stealing shit. However, the solution is that we're the most powerful, and as long as we're funding you, you're doing it with our money.
Yeah.
And our money could be better
Now
well spent
people
here.
suffer, yeah.
Your policies can be focused on the issues we have in our country.
Well, I agree. I
don't know how he's taken a pro-Palestinian. He hasn't.
I agree, but I just think he made a very weak argument when they were talking about the and I won't pretend I know what I'm talking about. How the whole point of why Israel are claiming they can make a preemptive attack is because the uranium, which is a material that's used to create.
What does Douglas Murray reckon about that?
I'm not sure, to be honest, but just the point that it's like usually a country has like a 2% uranium, 3%. On standard,
3 and 3.5.
You can make up to 20% if you're using it for potentially medical related things. This is Dave's argument. 60% is clearly a nuclear weapon. Now, before we start arguing about why is Israel allowed to have, but Iran's
I won't even bother with that.
But before we do that, let me just.
But who's making the claim?
But let me just make this point.
Who's making the claim?
What?
Who's making the claim that they're not allowed to do that?
Whoever. That's not my point.
No, it needs to be, because I'll tell you why. Because if someone's part of the NPT, that means they're not allowed to make weapons.
Okay.
And the person accusing has to be part of the NPT.
I'm not sure what this means, yeah.
The NPT is a non-proliferation treaty.
Okay.
So therefore, Israel is claiming, by the way, Israel is not a party to the NPT and is not subject to international inspections by the IAEA. Yet it is saying that Iran, who is a signatory to both and is inspected by both, and by the way, Israel is not inspected by anyone. The only country to have nuclear weapons in the Middle East, undeclared, never had inspections, not a signatory to anybody, is saying that this other country is breaking the rules of those same bodies that it is not a signatory to.
But everyone
You're not allowed to talk.
Yeah.
Sign up, get inspections, get rid of your weapons, and then talk about somebody else. What is his double
But
standard?
is it not agreed? But is it not in agreement that they've ramped up the uranium, which is a very good metric to say that they're creating nuclear weapons? That's in agreement.
No, it's not an agreement.
That is in
No,
agreement.
you're allowed to also enrich to 60% under the NPT.
If what?
You're not allowed to enrich to 90%.
But isn't 60%? Why would all right? So
60% you can't use for a weapon.
but sorry, this is no. It is. That was the
No,
argument.
You
with,
need 90%.
This wasn't even in question with the Dave and Kissen
No,
argument.
I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, but the thing that got me, and I'm talking about that debate, was they all agreed, just for the sake of this conversation,
Yep.
60% means you're making a weapon. They agreed that, and that seems to be the agreement. Yeah,
They can agree, but under the NPT, you're allowed to make up to 60%.
and the only reason would be if you're making a weapon.
It can be for any reason you like, because this is what it is.
But what
You don't
other
take-
reason would it be?
People don't get this. You can enrich 3.2% for civilian electricity, blah, 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 power needs, right? When 20% for medicines, certain type of cancer treatments, blah, 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 and research. However, it's not like they are making 60%. They take a portion out of that 20% and they turn that little piece into 60%.
Okay.
That doesn't mean the whole thing's 60%.
And why would someone do that?
Because it has other purposes. But what they're saying, the Iranians are saying, we did that because they tore up an agreement that we had with them about sticking to 3.2%,
Okay.
which was the Obama agreement, which took 5 years to make, and Trump just came in and ripped it in half.
All right.
So now, if you've ripped our agreement in half, it was for sanctions relief. Who are you to come tell us what? We don't have a deal on how much we're allowed to make.
Fair enough.
Especially not by countries who are doing more than that, like Israel. You
Okay.
don't get to say what we're allowed to have if you've got all the things that you're accusing us of. And here's one thing I learned about the way the Israelis are using their arguments. Basically, every time they accuse you of something, it's actually not an accusation. It's confession.
Confession. But this was Murray's argument against the Iranians.
What argument are they making? They're the ones who've been accused of everything. Oh, they bombed one hospital. They've bombed 40 in Lebanon in 3 months. In 3 months. In Palestine, they've destroyed 35 hospitals. And Iran launches one rocket. And in Iran, they bombed 3 hospitals before Iran done anything. And Iran went and hit an actual headquarters of some sort of intelligence area that was next to a hospital. They were like, oh my God, they are targeting hospitals. 200 injuries of people who were already injured because they were in the hospital. It's like, get out of here, man. Like, look, the world knows. I think
But
Dave
can I wrap that thought before you conclude?
Yeah.
Is that because as they were arguing in that episode, they both agreed that 60% meant in this episode, they agreed.
It can be interpreted.
But in this debate, they all agreed 60% meant you're creating a nuclear weapon.
No.
In that debate, they did.
No, they didn't.
They did because the reason they did. Let me finish.
No, no.
all right,
I want to
but-
correct you before you continue because you're going to use the wrong statement.
But
The
I'm just gonna
statement
make one more a quote.
But that's not what they said.
But the reason why I think this is what they said
All right.
is because in my head, they
Yep.
both said that. And then Kissen's like, well, obviously that means they're making a weapon. And Dave's like, no, it doesn't mean they're making a weapon. It means that they're wanting to present as though they're making
That's
a
correct.
weapon so
Yes.
that they can defend themselves and have some military
so that they can say it's a
like an
bargaining
implied
chip.
pressure,
He
yeah.
used the word bargaining chip,
And I
which he believes is a stupid form of argument because it gave the Israelis the reason to bomb them in the first place and the Americans.
But who do you believe that they would be doing it as a bargaining chip, or they would be creating the weapon of what's the ultimate bargaining chip? It's having a fucking nuclear weapon.
No, you
Yes, it
see,
is.
the Iranian policy since 2003 has been not to have a nuclear weapon.
Okay.
It's their policy. They actually don't have a program, as said by Tulsi Gabbard.
Gabbard, yeah.
She said they're not making a weapon. We don't believe they're making a weapon. Okay. And we don't believe they're close to making a weapon, and it hasn't been decided that they're going to make a weapon.
Yeah.
So in other words, they don't even have a program or the permission to create a program
Yeah.
in their own country. That's the intelligence report. Doesn't matter what anyone says after that.
And it's
If
crazy.
I've got 60%, that's not what she's saying. She's not saying that that's what that means.
Yeah.
And that's the intelligence. I don't care what Dave Smith or this other guy was saying. But at the end of that, I know what Dave Smith was actually saying. That's why I want to correct you. He wasn't saying that I agree that they were making a weapon. His argument is that it can seem, to make it seem as though that they are capable of making a weapon if they decided to. However, it was for bargaining reasons. The other guy was saying, no, 60% means that they're making a weapon.
Okay.
Let me tell you something about making that weapon. They might have made it 20 years ago, and they probably got 10 of them, and they still wouldn't tell anybody. It's not something that's outside of the reach of Iran to do. If North Korea was fully isolated and has got something like 35 nuclear weapons and no one can do shit to it, Iran's capable of doing it. It's just that they haven't done. It's against their creed, but it keeps getting used against them by the very country that's broken every single rule when it comes to nuclear weapons. But it's broken every single rule when it comes to inspection or being
International
part
law.
of any treaties. Everything they're not allowed to do, they've done, and they're accusing the one that said that we're not going to do it, that they must be doing it. It's inferred. We believe. And guess what? At the end of the day, if they wanted the weapon, Pakistan's already told them that we'll give you.
Okay.
Even Russia said to Iran that, Russia said to the world that if Iran wanted a nuclear weapon, there are plenty of people who would be prepared to give them the nuclear missiles.
Yeah.
They don't even need to make them.
Yeah, it's true.
So what are you talking about? Stop.
yeah, okay.
And they stopped. As soon as Russia said that, 2 days later, there was a treaty that there was a ceasefire that no one even knew happened.
Yeah,
It was on bloody Truth Social.
We just heard Trump going, nobody knows what the fuck they're doing.
Right, so he just tweets it out, and they all got to agree to a tweet. No one's actually met up. But either which way, the point I'm trying to make is that no one, and that argument in that debate that we're having, these Dave Smith and this other guy, they did not both say that it means that they were having.
Okay.
They were going for a nuclear.
I
weapon.
misinterpreted the
Another thing
implied
is-
agreement.
Dave Smith's part of a political movement. There's no doubt about it.
Libertarianism.
I think he's a libertarian. I think he's a libertarian. And he's a pacifist,
which is fucking stupid.
right? He's anti-war.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you
Like,
something.
I feel like you would disagree with that.
No,
The idea of not having power. We've discussed concepts like this where like it's just game theory where if you don't, they will and you die.
No, I believe that you should always be prepared for war.
Exactly. So how
Yeah,
could
but
you
not look for excuses for it.
Yeah, but pacifist says does
I'm
pacifist
not a pacifist.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's a pacifist.
Yeah, which is
Which will change.
But that's a big
pacifism
sign of
only
like-
comes during peace. Like, for example,
Yeah.
if your country's at peace and everyone's relatively going to universities and they're
We're
relaxed,
vibing.
even if it was in the Greek times and one tit's showing, right, and you're doing philosophy in the middle of the square, you can be pacifist when there's no war. When there's a war in a country, everybody's not a pacifist
Yeah,
after
but the ones who weren't the whole time are the ones who survived that war.
yeah, so there's different degrees. You've got
Yeah.
war hawks,
Yeah.
you've got patriots, you've got just your general public who's like, hey, why can't I pay my electricity? It's that guy. Okay, I guess now I'm a war hawk,
Mhm.
right? Then you got pacifists where as soon as they get slapped, they start throwing punches, right?
Yeah.
Right. I think everybody, it's natural to fight. It's natural to worry about your own
Yeah, territorial.
well-being,
Yeah.
right? And during times where you got a country that has no one that can actually attack it, America,
Mm.
you're going to have 1 billion views. So you get people like Dave Smith who are pacifists, libertarians. Their arguments are consistent.
Yeah, true.
John Mearsheimer is very, very consistent. Very consistent the way he talks.
Mm.
And he's also got views on communism and socialism and nationalism and all these. He's got all the isms. He knows them all. He's a very, 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 very well respected
All the
professor,
tisms, yeah.
right? The point I'm trying to make is that the Israel-Palestinian issue and the Iranian-Israeli issue and the Israeli-Syrian issue and the Israeli Lebanese issue, and the Israeli Egyptian issue, and the Israeli and Jordanian issue, and the Israeli American issue, and the Israeli European issue has a common denominator.
I will ever
And
wonder
they're
what.
always victims in everything. They're always like, it's what about us? What did we do? What did we do? And they're just going around slapping people, right? The Israeli Iraqi issue,
Oh yeah. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Israeli Turkish issue. They've got a lot of issues, man. But you know what? Everybody's wrong. And we get Dave Smith, at the very least, is very consistent in saying that my issue is that it's not our goddamn issue. Stop giving him my money. Focus on that road that I have to drive every day and get a wheel alignment every time I get into work. I got to Bob Jane T-Mart. I got to fucking get a wheel alignment and then pull into my fucking work. It's cost me 45 minutes. He's got real issues.
Yep.
Where he lives, obviously in America, and I think that's fair. It's a fair argument. But what he's not going to tell you is that Israel has every right to defend itself if it kills 19,000 children.
Yeah.
Right? He's not going to say Hamas has got a right to murder children. He says it's wrong both ways. So I know you might be turning on him.
I'm not turning on him. All right,
You
you're
did
right.
say you were turning on him.
I might have used those exact words. Yeah.
Yeah, you're starting to turn.
Yeah. I might have said that. Yeah.
And he's getting the Messiah complex. No, I don't think he is. I think we're just hearing more of him, because if you actually go back and listen to him before Trump was even elected, when he was kind of coming on our radar on the bigger shows a little bit more often, and this was due to the Gaza.
Yeah.
His podcast's been going on for a while, right? He's pretty consistent, man. And I'll tell you something, if at least some of these commentators that talk about world affairs and are talking about their own countries in one breath, what Israel's allowed to do in another breath, and then what the Gazans aren't ever allowed to do in another breath, and you can't see the humanity, I'd say at least Dave Smith always seems to present, if I'm against it, it's for two reasons. Focus on us, and what's happening is inhumane. That's fair enough. If he sticks to that, I don't find anything wrong in what he's saying. But Douglas Murray,
Yeah.
he's been
Yeah. Therefore, he's the arbiter of truth.
to where the IDF took him,
On the red carpet. Yeah.
right? And then when he came back from where he's been, he didn't have a different opinion than what he had before he went to where he'd been.
Just reinforced where he'd been.
He just kept using the same arguments. It's like, it's just, he seems to me like if he's not a Israeli shill, he's definitely a war hawk of some British type shill. He's working, but someone's paying him. You could not humanely make these arguments the way he makes them unless someone's paying you.
Anyway, I agree with everything,
Look
but
at Jordan
we
Peterson.
can't say that though.
Jordan
we can't say that.
Peterson was a complete
He
different.
can. Why do you say that before he's wrong? You know, like
Who?
Kissen and Murray, or anyone who's like a little more pro-Israeli. Why can't they simply be wrong?
No, because of the deflection system. The deflection. It doesn't matter what the right points that they're making, because if they say Israel has a right to defend itself, it absolutely does.
But hold on, because
But when you bring up a story like, but they just bombed
okay, but
480 people at a food
their
center,
argument is
they'll be like, well, that's Hamas's fault.
yeah, but
It's like, no, it's not. Hamas did not launch the rocket that killed the 450 people. Like, that is a shill.
But their argument is, and Hamas and like whoever has made the argument is like, now it's more okay to, like, everyone accepts Israeli exists, yeah, and Israeli is going to stay existing. Not too long ago, and for a lot of people still, they believe that Israel does not have the right to currently exist.
Yep.
So by their belief, obliteration and complete annihilation of the country, which is now a country, that's justified in their opinion.
No.
So when you are up against someone like Hamas, who would say, like, at this point in time, still they would say, no, they don't have the right to exist. So it is annihilation.
No.
Unless I've just been fucking indoctrinated.
I think you've heard something
No, Kissen
come
read
out
this
of some
statement.
people.
Yeah, he read like this like Hamas statement, which unless that was a complete bullshit.
No. That's
him
been updated. That was when Hamas was first founded. That was their doctrine.
yes.
Okay. That doctrine Israel keeps talking about, they
Yes.
won't tell you what their updated doctrine was after, I think it was like
I
2010.
didn't know this. Yeah.
Right. But that's okay. That's Hamas.
Yeah.
This is not a real player, Hamas. It's not a real player.
Yeah. Proxy.
And it's not a proxy either. It's a homegrown resistance force that's called terrorists by some and proxies by some because of who funds them or believes in their cause.
Yeah.
Anyone who funds them, they're a proxy for them, especially if you want to bomb them, like
Yeah.
Iran. And if it's, for example, if you're Israel, they're the terrorists,
Yeah. I understand. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Even if they didn't exist, they'll still say that they exist and keep going around bashing people. It'll be a snowball. I don't know if you've read Animal Farm.
I think, yeah.
You'll
in
see
school,
what happens, and they keep saying, "Oh, it's Snowball's fault. It's Snowball's
Oh,
fault."
Snowball. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's right.
But Snowball's dead,
Yes. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so this is Orwellian ideology, right? But at the end of the day, or method, sorry. Every country has told Israel in the Middle East, including Syria, when it was still under the Assad regime,
With some stability.
including the Palestinians themselves, the PLO, and even before Hamas, they told Israel 1967 borders, right? Go back to your borders where it was in 1967. They won't do it.
Yeah.
That's not their land. You know why? Because 1967 borders are agreed upon borders. Internationally, every country that has a government agrees that that is the agreed upon borders. What some people might say is, no, we want the UN borders, which was in 1944-45, where they agreed this much for you, Israel, and that was the whole world voted, and they all agreed that that's Israel and that's Palestine. So I don't care who, one little proxy group or someone might have said death to America or something, can't go around saying that that everybody in the Middle East wants Israel dead or they don't want it to exist. That is not true because
Not anymore.
officially since 1967, every one of those countries has said we agree on 1967 borders.
Okay. And that's been your argument from the day dot of this. Yeah.
Well, I don't care because I don't think Israel shouldn't exist. I think it should. And I think Palestine should exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
But give everybody the 1967 borders,
Yeah.
which means now Israel shrinks by half and Palestine's connected, not two enclaves, right? Gaza's down here and the West Bank's up here. That is not right. And that's not going to last. And I'll tell you why. It can last for another 50 years. But ultimately, there are too many people that are eventually going to come back, just like the Israelis did, and take back that land. So if you want long-term peace, go back to 1967 borders. But there are political people that are reliant on groups that prop up their governments, like Benjamin Netanyahu is right now. He is actually hostage to supporting parties who want the whole of greater Israel, which is 3,000 years old. All right. And if they just pull out of his government collapses. And if his government collapses, his court trials that he's got, I guarantee him jail.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to say anything. Douglas Murray can say whatever he wants. All right. Doug, listen. And anyone else kissing.
Yeah.
When you can convince the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice that is aren't wanted for genocide or war crimes or whatever it is, which is not in the bill, sitting on a chair in a kitchen. These are real courts with real judges and real cases. And I would say until they say that, nah, you're good, I'm going to keep my ideas that you're not. Because this is the world. I mean, even in the UN, you get a vote of 158 saying wrong. And then America's like, veto. That's not a democracy.
Yeah.
So whatever it is I'm trying to say is that everyone seems to agree that their behavior is not right.
Yep.
And some groups might have got caught. It's just like this. You could have grabbed a titty in 1998. In 2025, you decide to run for president. They bring that case up.
Yeah.
Remember that time when you grabbed a titty? Or do you remember when you were 14 and you called someone the N-word on Call of Duty? Right?
Yeah.
That means you hate all people that have N's in their name. It's just stupid. If Hamas came out and they were like, our people are like all over the shop, we want to get power. What are we going to say? The elimination of Israel.
So
now they're going to say the person who gives them food also wants death to Israel.
Yeah,
now,
okay.
it doesn't matter how many times Khomeini who died and the Khamenei who's there now tell you what they mean by the word death to Israel. They will explain it on national TV that it means death to the arrogance of their behavior in the Middle East towards the Palestinians and towards the Middle East itself. You can watch a video. It's on YouTube.
Because I'm just hearing death to Israel.
You can
It
hear
sounds
whatever
like
you
you're
want.
doing- yeah,
Because you like people more like Douglas Murray.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to say is that he's sat there and explained it. And it's right
But
there
it sounds like
translated.
a lot of mental gymnastics.
No,
you know,
because if you want to ask me what I mean by no,
Nabil.
no, if I could make a word up today, right now, I could say, fuck the Shaheeds.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, fuck the Shaheeds.
No, you could use that argument because that's what they do.
But that's what you said.
Fine. We should then take everybody literally.
That's
And there's another thing.
3 words.
No, because you could ask me what do I mean. And if I tell you, fuck the Shaheeds when they're doing this and doing this and doing this. But if you want to use it against me, you just can go out there and just say, Nabil said, F the Shaheeds. And he means, and you can tell me whatever you think you want to make up. So therefore, when someone says death to Israel or death to Satan or whatever, and then they explain to you what it is, if you want to make a fair argument, bring both arguments.
But would you agree that making such a claim allows for like the misinterpretation
It's
of
fucking
people,
stupid.
and it's going to create a wave of followers that
100%.
that hear death to Israel.
And guess what? And 85% of the world's population still kind of doesn't disagree. It's the governments that support Israel. But if you go to the general public, I'll tell you something. We are, as Middle Easterners, hatred and we're all this terrorist shit, yeah? During this bombing, a lot of people got on boats and went to Cyprus. Israelis. During the Iran 12-day war between Iran and Israel. Well, you should look this up. Now there is a whole bunch of TikTokers that are not Arabs. They're either Greek or Turk, Cypriot, who are making videos. No, thank you. We don't want to be the next Palestine. They're trying to take over our country. That's how they get in. They come in as refugees, and then they're going to start buying up all our shit, and then they're going to kick us out of our own. Go watch it,
Yeah,
man.
but they're wrong. Yeah.
The point is that who taught them that? Did we teach them that?
But no, that is where, and
They've
dare I
got
use
the
the word,
same worries
this-
as what they've seen the Israelis do to Palestine. That's going to happen to their country. That's all it is.
Okay, I disagree with that, but yeah,
But
sure.
the Cypriot government's like, you can use our air bases and go bomb Palestine. So the government's one thing, and what I'm trying to say, and the majority overall belief is that whatever Israel's doing in the Middle East is bad. They can do it different.
But that
Even if you disagree with them dying or not being on the map, and you say, no, they should be there, you can't say that the behavior.
of course, yeah.
As a matter of fact, they'll blame Iran for the behavior of the Iranian government to its own people. But Iran can say, look what Israel's done to Syria.
Yeah, yeah.
Israel was bombing Syria for over 20 years. Syria's not bombing Israel, right? They're bombing Palestinians with planes and they're throwing rocks at them, right? Before they were throwing missiles, they were throwing rocks. They used to shoot them with tanks. Well, they'll go around and say, look what Iraq's doing to its people, but they can't tell you what Iraq did to Israel. So what I'm trying to say is that one person might say death to Israel, but when Israel says we want to live in peace and they're killing the Palestinians, they're actually showing you what they're not saying. But now, in this day and age, they're actually saying what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay.
All right? Ben-Gvir and Smotrich have gone up and said, we want to wipe them out. We want to kick them out. We want to starve them to death. We just don't want them here. And They've said it openly. And here's the difference between them and Iran. Iran wasn't bombing Israel like death to Israel. It was bombing it very, very strategically. It was hitting military targets as much as it could. It knocked out a lot of their military targets. But Israel, when it bombs Gaza, says we want to kill the Gazans and get rid of them. And they're actually doing it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. I don't know, Doug.
Dougie.
When you try to say, but they have a right to defend themselves, I'm going to say, go fuck yourself, man. And if Dave Smith is holy thou, whatever, and he's getting the Messiah complex, as long as he keeps saying what I believe, which is be humane, people have got a right to fight. You got a right to fight. You don't have a right to take more than what you deserve, right? And he's disagreeing with countries that are supporting and not supporting their own people, which is America has a very, very big problem in that. Their people are starving. They can't even buy apples. They can't even buy apples, man. People, if you look at the movies, everyone's rich. But if you look at everywhere between California and fucking New York, everyone's fucking broke. All right? He's saying, can we at least like use that same energy in our own country and forget about this monster of a country, which, by the way, he's a Jew.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not like it's a Jewish thing. He just doesn't want to be involved in this shit. And he reckons solution to the Middle East, stop funding him.
Yeah. Okay.
You're a big boy. You reckon you're tough? Look after yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
When do you finally tell your son, hey, dude, fuck out of my house?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you're 40 years old.
Yeah.
I've seen this thing happening.
You're shitting on the floor. Like, get out.
I've seen this thing happening on the bloody Hangover, man. On the Hangover, when that funny guy, Karafakakis, whatever his name
Asian?
is. No. He's still living at home. He's like 40. And he's like, you're 40 years old. I was like, I'm 42.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're 42 years old. And he's like, I'll just, get back on your meds or get out of my house.
Yeah.
He's been carrying his son this whole time. And I think Israel does have a right to exist. Doesn't have a right to murder people or innocent civilians. I don't think anyone has that right. And I think America and every other country in the world should just tell us quite simply, man, look, maybe you're just like that. But we believe you will never really know why you still got our support. We're just not going to support you.
Yeah.
All right. And maybe their behavior might change. I mean, I know when my dad used to take away the Sega Mega Drive, I was a good boy for at least 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
Trying to gain his, trying to make myself like a good boy, walking in straight lines, sitting with my hands on my. I had a fucking one of those things on the Babilionis, right? Just acting like a good boy so I can give back the Mega Drive.
Yeah.
So sometimes taking something away might help change some sort of behavior, but because obviously
it's enabling. Basically.
Dave Smith disagrees with their behavior.
Yeah.
If they were like really, really good and they're nice to the Palestinians, and then all of a sudden you get one little group that's like, fuck these cunts. He'll be like, that's just like any other uprising. America had it, June 6th, whatever it was called.
Okay.
What about those terrorists, man? What about the people that were robbing the knock shops?
BLM wise.
BLM and shit, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. The fuck was that? People were dropping off bricks.
Yeah.
Did you see the trucks just dropping off bricks,
No, I
pallets,
didn't know
and then
that.
they'll grab the bricks and go?
That's fucking crazy. Yeah.
There was full on like every country's going to have a group that doesn't like what's going on. They might say some shit, but if they were looking after Palestinians and they had a group like that and they smashed that group, good on yous. You're trying to have something good happening here, and they're just getting in the way. But when that situation is very unique, I'll tell you, I've never seen, and I don't think we'll ever see another Israel-Palestinian situation ever.
Hopefully not.
No, it will always be that situation there, but it'll be the only. It's like a unicorn situation.
Yeah.
It's never happened before.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen again.
It's in the history. Yeah.
It's so unique that I think most of the world doesn't know what the fuck to do with them. Like, they've got nukes now. What do you do?
Yeah.
They got 90 to 250 nukes. Never been inspected. They stole them from America. They stole the plans.
Yeah.
They built a power plant with no IAEA, no NPT, nothing. And they're like, Iran's in violation of the NPT. We should bomb it. Hey, by the way, big brother, I hit it. I hit it, but I only put one little hole in it. Can you send the big boys?
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is that? I reckon if just America had just not bombed and just said to Israel, stop, and Iran, stop, they would have stopped.
Mm.
From the first day that Iran retaliated to this unprovoked attack, and by the way, international law is clear. You're not allowed to preempt
Yeah,
defense.
A defense, yeah.
You're not allowed to preempt defense. Like, I can't go right now to little Jimmy, punch him in the nose, saying that one day you may come and punch me.
Yeah.
Right? You can't do that. America could. Iran said from day one, once they stop, we'll stop.
Mm.
Took them 12 days to run out of bullets, man.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, have you seen those craters that they left in the mountain?
No.
Those
Oh,
three
wait.
little pinholes.
As in for the program that they were meant to have destroyed.
Yeah.
Is it not big? Is that what you're
They
talking
dropped 12 bombs, bunker busters, 30,000-pound bombs,
about? Yeah.
and they put 3 little craters in the mountain.
And that's it. You're saying it wasn't effective?
100% wasn't effective.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
Trump's like, it was a successful attack.
Absolutely obliterated.
Obliterated.
He obliterated everything. And then the next day, I don't know, someone popped up and from the government or something and
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, like, you know,
It's all AI.
no, it was actually." And then he's turned on the Democrats now. He's turned around and said, "Whoever released that intelligence report saying that we haven't caused much damage should be sacked." And then
Shit.
yeah. And then he's like, "We're going to come after you." And he's like, to like CNN or someone, that reporter should be fired for letting out intelligence reports. And anyone who disagrees with obliterated,
Yeah.
he wants to obliterate right now.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right. So ultimately, look, at the end of the day, I still like Dave Smith,
Mm.
and I still
Me
think
too.
there's something seriously wrong with Douglas Murray that you should look into that guy, man. There's something I don't know, slimy about him, man.
I personally like them both very much.
I cannot like Douglas.
I've always liked
I've
Douglas.
seen him argue other shit,
I read his
and he's an
book.
idiot there too.
No, anyway,
He's an idiot.
I don't think he's an idiot. I think we agree to disagree.
Dave
I think,
Smith wrecked him, and he hasn't even gone to school.
yeah, I think Douglas Murray simply is wrong. Maybe I do cut it out. No, that's my current view, and it's able to change. Just as you just showed me that I might have consumed.
I'm gonna tell you something
You showed
right
me
now.
it consumed a bit too
I don't
much.
believe in Western or Eastern or Northern or Southern or
Okay.
Central ideas of anything.
None of the tribes.
Anybody who transgresses human morality and ethics when it comes to their conduct that may affect more than just themselves needs to be held accountable. And it's never okay to take shit that doesn't belong to you, or to steal, or to encourage stealing, or to enable stealing, or violence, or aggression, or transgression. None of that bullshit. I don't care where you come from. If your ideals don't line up with what is the most humane, then I'm against you. And that you could be white, you could be black,
Wow.
you can be Dalai Lama brown, okay? You can be Aboriginal if you believe that every human has the right to exist fairly. Then I agree with you. And by the way, you know who I hate the most? People who say one thing and do something else. Because I hate people disguising as good and going around doing bad.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And anyone who ever claims to be a victim, fuck you. There are no
Wolf in
victims.
sheep's clothing. Yeah.
All right. No victims. I don't care if you are a victim. Victims don't say I'm a victim.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's just a spoiled little brat. If you're a victim, do something about it.
Yep. I'm with you.
All right.
Complete agreement.
And stop fucking with me.
Stop
all right?
fucking with him, guys.
Hey, victims, send me some biscuits or something, man. Sponsor.
And if something I've learned is I need to check my confirmation biases, check my algorithm as well.
That's because
No, but
because I
I
stepped
dip
on
in
Douglas
both.
Murray toe.
No, I dip in both. I'm everywhere.
I'm
reckon.
not. I'm not.
And then I find myself like I'm a bit impressionable where it's like, I'm going to lean here. I kind of agree. And then I'll like slightly lean here again on topics that I don't know
You know
too
what I
much
hate,
about.
man, more than anything? Stereotypes, man. Like every Uber driver's Indian.
But
I don't believe that.
But it's mostly true for us.
Yeah, but that's like saying every second accident on the road is an Indian.
Well, have you noticed there's always cars pulled up on the side
And if
now
someone's wearing flip-flops.
and it's an Indian standing outside its non-working car. That's a new phenomenon.
You and Doug would get along.
But that's a
You and
phenomenon.
Douglas Murray.
Did you notice that or not? that there's a lot more cars pulled up on the side of the road, and there's 2 Indian young guys just standing outside the car.
Looking at the bottom.
Did you notice that or not? That's a new phenomena in our society. Take notice. All I'm saying is service your car.
I'm about to say some bullshit. I don't see color.
I don't see color. So you're looking in your peripheries. Like this.
Ooh, that's a non-color human being with flip-flops. Look, you might be right.
Did you notice that or not? Was my question.
Look, I'm just going to go Look, I'm not going to say I agree with you, but the last 30 accidents I've witnessed or seen on the side of roads or anything did have flip-flops and Indian people
Or
involved.
dare I say, a young hijabi girl.
Or an Indian who smashed into a hijabi. We're going to hell.
We're going to hell. We'll
Catch us
see
later.
you all there.
Hey, by the way, the last 3 seconds was jokes, yeah?
Yeah, all jokes, all jokes.
I do
But,
see color.
I guess, we'll see you in hell then.
All right. Bye-bye.